something like that. But let's dive into the Room of Savants, shall we? Do you have any idea on what kind of dwarf you'd like, Accident? What job you'd like? What task you'd like? What type of dwarf you'd like? I would go so far as to say you can even, like, choose whether or not you want to be a lady or not, or a kid, or a military dwarf, or farmer, or we got fisher dwarves, we got metal crafters, we got animal trainers, we got masons, stoneworkers, miners, engravers, caterpillars. Almost. Not quite the last one. We got woodcutters. Hunter or military? Well, I guess military is what you get. Let's give you a hammer lord. Logan Accident. She feels satisfied after teaching striking and uneasy after being unable to acquire something for too long. 80 years old, born on the 16th of Sandstone in the year 178. Worshipper of Detan, who is a deity of the Room of Savants, most often takes the form of a female dwarf and is associated with mountains. And you have a pet turkey gobbler. Male turkey. Let's see, you killed a Cyclops in 256. In 258, you killed Stoltzgu Dungeon Trot, as well as several beak dogs and some goblins and a troll. But your notable kills are very noteworthy indeed. You are 80 years old, born on the 16th of Sandstone in the year 178. She isn't tall, but incredible muscles. But has incredible muscles. Her hair is wavy and her very long hair is braided. Her head is tall and her ears are somewhat short. Her gold eyes are slightly protruding and her eyebrows are somewhat high. Her hair is pale chestnut and her brown skin is slightly wrinkled. She's absolutely inexhaustible, mighty and incredibly tough, and extremely agile and quick to heal, but really susceptible to disease. She likes jet, brass, smoky quartz, and water buffalo horns, steelhead trout tooth, specifically, cowbone cubes and cabinets, and giant rattlesnakes for their warning rattle. And the words of the wavy pedal and the sound of the poetry of tone. And when possible, prefers to consume salmon, chicory, mango wine, and two-humped camel's milk, and you hate large roaches. Does anybody else want a dwarf in this fort, by the way, chat? She personally believes that the acquisition of power over others is the ideal goal in life and worthy of the highest respect. Believes that deeply values introspection and is somewhat put off by trade and commerce, and values romance. And doesn't particularly care about loyalty. Dreams of crafting a masterwork someday and likes to present herself boldly, even if it would offend the average sense of modesty. She is sometimes cruel and very greedy, and she does not easily fall in love and rarely develops positive feelings. Is troubled by this as she values romance. And she doesn't often feel envious of others, and she is quite comfortable with others that have a different appearance or culture. You don't think you've had one in Long Death? Well, we've swapped from Long Death over to the Rim of Savants, so we're on a different fort now. We're no longer on Long Death, but I can give you a dwarf in this fort, if that works. I could also theoretically give you one in Long Death, but that would require me reloading that save, but... She talks very loudly when she's excited, and she needs alcohol to get through the working day, and doesn't really care about anything anymore. So this fortress, for anybody who hasn't seen it, might as well do a brief tour. This fortress is on a volcano, on a very, 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 very tall mountain. That'll work for you another day? Yeah. So it's got this big old tower up here, and this artificial lava flow that I've built, which flows down and into this pyramid, which is down in the kind of bottom square thingy there. Inside of that pyramid are 3 glass towers with a nightmare mechanism inside that can pump lava up really, really, really quickly and efficiently to then dump lava on any unsuspecting invader. The fortress itself goes down pretty shallow, actually. Like, it's not the deepest fort. We haven't done too much expansion into the caverns, so there's lots that we can still do. Although, as of late, one of the more exciting things is we managed to trap this lovely little critter over here, who is a cute little creature, a huge eyeless elephant, to be specific. It has 3 long hanging tails, and it squirms and fidgets. Its cobalt hair is even, beware its webs. And now we've trapped a bunch of cute little doggies up here, where it can, like, shoot them with webs, and then they scream in terror, generally, probably. And it then basically acts as, like, a clothing material stuff creator. Yeah, so it shoots webs at dogs, and we collect the silk and make it into clothing. But if you would like a dwarf, Kodiak, do you have any preference? We've got a little bit of everything in this fort. A little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. Otherwise, I can just do dealer's choice, at which point I just close my eyes and then let go of this button somewhere. But we got glassmakers, we got clothers, we got blacksmiths, we got tons of masons. Random? Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 1, 8. One further up. There you go. You're a milker. You're going to milk it for all you got. Sazir. Kodiak. He was embarrassed after drinking water from a well. Or without a well, rather. Ooh, that's not good. Why were you drinking water, you poor soul? Okay, well, we do have beer, so that must have been before I fixed the beer supply problem. You're 79 years old, born on the 8th of Obsidian in the year 179. You worship the deity of mountains, known as Datan. You don't feel anything when you see goblins' dead bodies, which is good. The indecency. Oh, it's so indecent to have to drink water. Imagine being forced to drink water. The humanity. Wait, we're not humans. The dwarf-manity. Wait a second. His hair is straight and his very long sideburns are neatly combed. His very long mustache is arranged in double braids. His very long beard is arranged in double braids. His very long hair is neatly combed, and his somewhat high cheekbones are, and he has very high cheekbones. There we go. He has a very round chin, and his nose is narrow. His somewhat narrow eyebrows are quite dense. His gold eyes are somewhat narrow. His hair is pale chestnut, and his skin is ecru. He likes native aluminum, bronze, Levin opal, amber, the color lavender, the color lavender blush. Lavender and what is the difference between the color lavender and the color lavender blush? Is that like light lavender? What would that even be? I have no idea. Maces and figurines and sheep for their tendency to flock. When possible, prefers to consume perry and olive oil. And lentils. Really? You like perry, olive oil, and lentils. Wow, you could actually get by here. Jeez. And absolutely hates bark scorpions. Lentils are pretty good, though, I gotta admit. Personally finds leisure time wasteful, dreams of mastering a skill, is ruled by irresistible cravings and urges for lentils, mostly, and feels best when everybody gets along without any strife or contention. He is stubborn and has a greedy streak and likes to take it easy and doesn't often feel envious of others, is quick to form negative views about things, and takes offered help and gifts without feeling particularly grateful. He is quite polite, and he tends to ask others for help with difficult decisions. He tends to consider what others think of him and likes to keep things practical without delving too deeply into the abstract. He can handle stress and gets distracted from conversations easily when he's angry. He points and shakes his finger when he's angry, and he talks rapidly after he's been surprised. He needs alcohol to get through the working day, and does not mind being outdoors, at least for a time, and doesn't really care about anything anymore. Like at all. Do you care about anything anymore, Chat? But yeah, no, the whole point of this fort is we're building this. With towers inside of it. So, if anybody else would like a dwarf, we do have tons available. So you could be part of the religious schism. You could have just like asked for such a request, but I could have made that happen. Like, literally. We absolutely could have made that happen, but... You said dealer's choice, so... The religious schism in this fort is kind of neat. There's two different religions that worship the same god that have almost identical names. And one of them is very popular, and the other one is kind of popular. And so I imagine it as kind of like a Protestants and Catholics kind of thing, which is endlessly entertaining to me with possible story building possibilities. Considering like religious persecution and things like that happen in Legends mode all the time, it's neat to see it happen in Fortress mode, where there's like two groups that both demand temples at the same time, and then it's like, oh my god, you're like identical. You're like best friends, except you probably agree on nothing. Just like real life. Woo. Down to here. Go down to there. Build my scaffolds. Green blocks. 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 Then if I'm very curious about what the total count of green glass blocks in this fortress is going to be by the time this dumb thing is done, because it's going to be a really large number. Someone was asking me the other day, they're like, how tall is that going to be when it's done? And it's like, I realized that I haven't done the math. It's like, I guess I could have done the math to figure out how tall this thing would be when it was done, but I also just didn't. So what's up, Impale? Mislead the soaps as soups? You read them as soups? What, like soup blocks? That would be like a really big soup dumpling, I would guess. Because armadillo soup. Yeah. I could see that. I mean, like, the fact that, like, it's just based off of animal fat, too, I think. Like, a lot of people aren't used to, like, soaps being just made of, just animal fat, right? Because that's what soap is in Dwarf Fort. It's just like ash and animal fat. Or it's like condensed oil. But nobody really does that. People just use animal fat because it's easier. It's just less effort at that point. Ah, come on. It's human fat? Well, that's Fight Club. Also, that's... is that spoilers for Fight Club? I don't think that's spoilers for Fight Club. Anyway, the first rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club, so you just broke the first rule of Fight Club, which means, I don't know, someone's gonna come and give you a talking to or something. That is such a relevant movie in the current era, though. Also the book, I guess, but... It's been a while since I've seen Fight Club. Great movie. Never read the book, though. Second there, I thought we were invading baddies. We've also been aggravating necromancer towers and other things, so hopefully we'll get zombies. I'd like the dead to walk. Also, thanks for the follow, by the way. Razki. Elio. How's things? Welcome to the stream side of things. All dwarves put away blocks. Very high up. Trying to think of other movies that have fat in an or not fat, but like soap featured in it as like a prominent plot device, and I'm pretty sure that like the only one I could think of off the top of my head is probably Fight Club. Profitable production loop. Yeah, why are we just like spoiling bits of Fight Club in my chat? What? Like, it's a good movie and all, but, like, not everybody's seen it. It's like there's certain tiers of movie where it's just like that's just a cultural classic that people should just watch. And it's also like a small enough movie that not everybody's seen it, so it is a 20-year-old film, you're right. I don't know. I don't want to just sit here and talk about the ins and outs of Fight Club, a movie that I've seen multiple times. Just on the odd fact that somebody hasn't seen it, and that is one of those movies that is like known enough that everybody knows about it or has referenced it, but maybe hasn't necessarily seen it, and people should see that movie, so I don't want to talk about Fight Club. First rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club, so stop talking about Fight Club. If you've watched Fight Club, you'd know that. It's one of those movies in Palification where if you know anything about it, it kind of ruins it. What's the second rule of Fight Club? Don't talk about Fight Club! Not joking. That is actually accurate. Which is funny because I'm like not sensitive about spoilers at all about most things, but Fight Club is one of the like two things that I am. It's like Fight Club, the ending of Portal 2. That's basically it. That I'm like actually sensitive about spoilers on. Trying to think of like other twist ending things. I guess like most M. Night Shyamalan movies, like The Sixth Sense. If you know the spoiler at the end of Sixth Sense, which is literally a lyric from the song "I Jizzed in My Pants" by The Lonely Island, then like you might as well not watch that movie. The Mist? You could just miss that movie and be totally fine. Read the book. Unless I'm confusing it with The Fog, which I might be. What's the sixth rule of Fight Club? I haven't seen Fight Club since 2010. And I know it was 2010 because me and a friend watched that movie after spending all day downtown at the Olympics, doing like various things in town. Where the fuck did those humans just come from? Excuse me? Why are you up on my walls? Yeah, I've read the book, The Mist, but I don't think I've ever actually seen the movie. Oh, another movie that I refuse to talk about and or spoil is The Shawshank Redemption. To people who haven't seen it. If I'm in the presence of somebody who hasn't seen The Shawshank Redemption, I will not talk about that movie. Just because of how good that movie is. We're running out of booze real quick. Just because, like, The Shawshank Redemption is one of the only movies that I would be like, yeah, that's, like, a favorite movie all-time contender. And, yeah, actually, no. I would spoil this one because it's so outrageous, but, like, Saw 1 is a movie I wouldn't spoil or discuss the ending of. Which is also the only movie in the entire Saw franchise that I feel that way about, and the only one that I think is actually worth watching is the first one. But the first Saw is an exceptionally underrated movie because it just gets lumped in with its gore porn sequels, which are fun and goofy in their own right, but the only actual good movie in that series is Saw. It's one of those movies that people look at me funny when I talk about them. No, they made 7. They made 7 Saw movies. And they actually all take place in, like, we have a ghost. Chronological order. They all take place in chronological order, and, like, it has like a full continuity between them, and like they all tie together and have callbacks, and are actually like a really well put together series of horror films. But like the only one that's actually worth watching, unless you're way too in on the bullshit, is the first one. It's also like less violent than most horror films. Like, yeah, there's blood in it. And yeah, somebody cuts their arm off, but like... No, because that's not really the kind of thing that I go out of my way to watch. Krista? You forgot your lucky voting coin at home? You have a lucky voting coin? Is that like the lucky egg that they bring with them in the Jamaican bobsled team? That if they ride smooth, the egg won't crack? And it's his lucky egg? God, that's a movie I should rewatch. Cool Runnings. I wonder if that movie ages well. You like the visual gag of flipping a coin at the pole? It's sad that, like, you can only flip a coin. Here, at the very least, I can roll, like, a 20-sided dice. It's just, like, 8 of... Well, 16 of the numbers are actually one of 2 parties, whereas the rest are all also exist, but they don't matter. Not totally, but... We do have more than 2 parties. I'm watching old Godzilla movies recently, actually, because one of the older ones is free to watch on YouTube. Really? A voting die? Yeah, no, like, I mean, there's 2 parties that are very popular here. It's, like, liberal and conservative. And then there's, like, 24 other parties that you theoretically could vote for. It's just the only one that ever actually gets any seats are Bloc Québécois because the French and, the NDP. The others you've seen so far are all right. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen bits and pieces of various Godzilla films, but I've never actually like sat down and watched one. It's just, but although when it comes to like not great movies, I will go out of my way to watch like science fiction movies that are heavily inspired by Alien. So it's just like sci-fi, we're in a space station monster movies. I will go out of my way to watch films like that are just like, oh yeah, no, it's just a sci-fi invasion, or like a bunch of astronauts in a space station and an alien gets loose and kills them all. I will watch all of those movies from forever. I doesn't matter how bad they are. And I've seen Jason X twice, actually. That's a good drinking movie. No other purpose. But like, I will also watch like just like not very good like sci-fi person stuck in a facility movies. There's so many of those on Netflix. You do the same with Farscape? What, you'll watch anything that's like Farscape? There's also the Leprechaun in Space one. It's not an alien though. Here's like where I draw the line as to whether or not one of those movies are good. I've never seen a good one outside of Alien. They're all bad. But if the creature design is interesting, I'll enjoy it. And I want interesting creature design. There was this one that I watched like last year, which I'm trying to remember the name of now, where the creature was like this weird starfish shaped thing. That one was neat. And I also watched this other movie where they go to one of Jupiter's moons and the creature is like something that's like under the ice. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It actually had like some decent actors in it too. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Hold on, let me find it. Because I know the name of the actors that were in it. Europa report, that was it. Like 98% certain. Yeah, this movie. Alien and The Thing are your favorite horror movies? Your favorite creature features? I mean, John Carpenter's The Thing is a timeless classic that will never be topped, in my opinion, when it comes to that kind of creature feature. Considering John Carpenter said in an interview with Bloody Disgusting recently that, quote, "I heard that they're making another Dead Space. I liked those original games. They would make a good movie. I'd make it if they'd let me." And it makes me sad that we'll probably never get a John Carpenter's Dead Space. Like, genuinely sad. It's not very often that I get sad about movies that don't exist that won't ever exist, but man, that comment from John Carpenter made me sad. I want the King of Horror to make a Dead Space movie so badly. So badly. Actually, what I actually want is, I don't want a Dead Space movie from John Carpenter. I want a System Shock movie from John Carpenter, but it'll never happen. Just because of, like, you know, the weird fleshy cyberspace bits of System Shock 2, you know? Speaking of spoilers for things that are old. That's a spoiler for a thing that's old. Let's let these dwarves continue collecting sand. As always, if anybody else would like a dwarf in this fort, just let me know. Or if you're curious about Dwarf Fortress or anything to do with this fort, feel free to ask questions and I can give you live descriptions if you'd like. You will never watch natural disaster movies or apocalypse movies? What about Sharknado? For a while, actually, in this stream, one of my regulars actually was a really big fan of Sharknado and actually got to work on 2 of them. Never shut the fuck up about how much he loved Sharknado and always stated, he's like, yeah, I work at that network. I work at Sci-Fi, and I hope they'll let me work on those movies one day. And one day he managed to do that. Not even earthquake spiders? Wait, what? Do I need to Google earthquake spiders? Do you have a dwarf in Long Death? I think you have a dwarf in Long Death. Unless they die, or this isn't Long Death. We're into the other fort, but Raz. Admittedly, the changeover was not too long ago, but I guess it really does show just how similar a lot of forts in Dwarf Fort look when I was playing another fort earlier and then swap over to a different one, and it's like nobody even notices. Rory, Nordstrom, Footloose, Spice. No, you don't have a dwarf in this fort currently. I think I've seen Arachnophobia. Pretty sure I have. Although, actually, chat, would you guys count Predator, the first one, as a creature feature? Because I don't know if... I don't really consider Predator to be a horror movie, like, at all. It's just kind of a... It's just kind of a accidental biopic about toxic masculinity. But also, like, a weirdly entertaining movie. You'd like a dwarf? Do you have any preference on type of dwarf? We got a little bit of everything, jobs-wise. If you'd like a particular job. Otherwise, I can just give you somebody random. You love glass makers? Random is fine. All right, we'll do white dog first. Blabbity 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 blah 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 blah. Boop. Errol. White dog. You are uneasy after being unable to acquire something for too long and bored after being unable to practice a craft. Now you can practice a craft. You were afraid after experiencing reliving trauma. You don't feel anything when you see things dead's bodies. And you read a book once. You're up. Oh. Oh no. His nose bridge is incredibly concave. His very round chin. He has a very round chin, and his sideburns are clean shaven, and his very long mustache is neatly combed. His tall, flattened ears are extremely narrow, and his eyelashes are short, and his nose is slightly hooked, and his hair is pale chestnut, and his skin is dark peach. His eyes are gold. He's got a lot of scars on his neck, and his leg, and his foot. His upper back teeth are gone. And what happened? You've got nerve damage. Ability to stand has been lost. Yeah, looks like you got stitches. A whole lot of them. And you use a wood crutch. Of course, Lava Land Tuna is would be canon with Sharknado. How about Birdemic while we're talking about bad movies? Let's see. You are married to a lovely wife who's not dead. So that's good. You worship the god Tholteg, who's associated with fortresses. And let's read a little bit more about you. He personally is affronted by the whole notion of maintaining decorum and finds so-called dignified people disgusting due to having your clothes rot off your body in the year 256. He finds the notion that one would persevere through adversity completely abhorrent after experiencing trauma in 253. He treasures independence due to being forced to endure the decay of a friend in 253, and believes that peace is always preferable to war after seeing a goblin's dead body in 251. Sees sacrifices wasteful and foolish, and sees skill with weapons and fighting distasteful, and finds eloquence and artful speech off-putting. And dreams of creating a great work of art. Is confident under pressure, a strengthening after being forced to endure the decay of a friend in 253, and has little time for forgiveness, and will generally seek retribution, and is easily moved to mercy after seeing a goblin's dead body in 251. He finds humor in most situations after wearing old clothing in 255, and is quite ambitious, and can sometimes act without deliberation, but you're currently more thoughtless. He is not easily hate or develop negative feelings after experiencing trauma in 253, and he's brave in the face of imminent danger and is currently more fearless. Tends to assume that the worst of two outcomes will be the one that comes to pass, and tends to not be swayed by the emotional appeals. Generally acts with a narrow focus on the current activity, and is currently more rude. He is currently more confident, and currently more shameless, and currently less private. Needs alcohol to get through the working day and does not mind being outdoors at least for a time and doesn't really care about anything anymore. Is somewhat focused with relatively satisfied needs. That's your dwarf. Trevor, you want jewelers or glass? 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 We got lots of glass, so glass it is. Currently you're making green glass blocks. Trevor, she feels vengeful when joining an existing conflict. You've killed an armadillo and a wombat. You violent, horrible creature. Yes, a whole armadillo and a wombat. You worship Ral. You have some friends. You're 66, 3 years off of nice, years old, born on the 13th of Sandstone in the year 192. She is very fat. I'm not calling you fat. And her eyes are close set. And her ears are extremely narrow. Her head is somewhat narrow, and her eyebrows are somewhat high. And her hair is pale chestnut. And her medium-length hair is neatly combed. Her skin is cinnamon, and her hair is wavy. She likes horn silver, bismuth, bronze, and green jade. Giant spider, monkey leather, not spider, monkey leather. Giant spider, monkey leather. And yak hoof and giant green tree frog tooth and the color mahogany. Giant jumping spiders for their striking appearance and the fact that they wear water as hats. And the words of the silky bride, and prefers to consume brown bullhead parsnip wine and hard wheat flour. And absolutely hates oysters. For some reason. Chat, can I get a round of beers? Because people are roundings of beers for reasons. Hey, Fight Attack, what's up? She personally thinks that the quest for knowledge is a delusional fantasy and sees working hard as a foolish waste of time. Values sacrifice and values decorum, dignity, and proper behavior. She is grounded in reality and lives an orderly life, organized and neat, after retching on miasma in 255. She enjoys the company of others and is quick to anger. She is stubborn and she tries to do things correctly each time. She is quite ambitious and she is rarely happy or enthusiastic. She is conflicted by this as she values party and merrymaking in the abstract. She tends to avoid any physical confrontations and works to square this natural tendency with her respective martial prowess and occasionally overindulges and is not particularly interested in what others think of her. She talks to herself when she's nervous and her hands move frantically when she's trying to remember something. She needs alcohol to get through the working day and likes working outdoors and only grumbles mildly at crappy weather and doesn't really care about anything anymore. You have a dwarf in this fort? No. May you please have the first available lady one. That's not available. Smart. Why is everybody currently joining in a conflict? What's going on? It's a very happy dwarf. Although a sleeping dwarf is generally a happy dwarf. Everybody feels vengeful after joining in a conflict. What the fuck's happening? And boop. Now that I'm told to find a lady dwarf, I just can't. There we go. You okay with being a milker? I could also give you another job. You want to practice martial art. How do you feel about thwacking things with a stick? Fight attack. Vengeance equal morale. Vengeance equal they're actively in combat. Milker sound fine. Kick, roast. Fight attack. Feels euphoric due to inebriation. You worship Raoul, who's the deity of wealth. You killed a wombat once. Anything even remotely to cheese adjacent sounds fine. Noted. Noted. Her nose bridge is incredibly concave and her hair is clean shaven. Her extremely tall, free-lobed ears are extremely narrow. Her nose is narrow and her apologies. And her copper skin is wrinkled. Jeez, what's wrong with my body? Her gold eyes are slightly close set and her hair is pale chestnut with flecks of gray. She likes native gold, billen, and wood opal, and penguin bone, and suns and doors, and giant sloth bears for their large floppy ears. Sloth bears are terrifying, by the way. And the words of the silky bride and the sound of the berries of drumming, and the sight of the amethyst sheen, and when possible prefers to consume dwarven beer and one-humped camel's milk. And can't stand jumping spiders, even though they wear water as hats. It's true, though. Jumping spiders wear water as hats. Spider's about to be on screen for the arachnophobic. Look at these adorable little fuckers. I mean, how do you not love that? Like, they carry their water driplets with them. Like, they're saving them for later. Look at them. They're so cute. I don't know. I love jumping spiders. You wish they lived there. You wish they lived longer, but they're so cute. I mean, they've got good short lives. Look at that. They literally pick up bits of water and put it on their head. I love them. Jumping spiders are fantastic. They do make good pets, though, even though they're rather short-lived pets. They're kind of like fish, although some fish then live weirdly long. And their bodies aren't blobby. I feel like creepy spiders for me, and like I'm not somebody who's scared of spiders at all, but to me creepy spiders are the ones with long spindly legs. Those are creepy spiders. Whereas like jumping spiders are just like kind of dopey looking. It's like, oh, you little guy. Jumping spiders and tarantulas are really cool. Yeah, tarantulas are neat. Tarantulas are kind of smart too. I learned recently that there's certain breeds of tarantulas that will abduct tree frogs. Because, and like, keep them alive and keep them like pets, because the tree frogs will eat insects that eat their kids. So the tree frogs like defend their nests basically, which is super neat. Anyway, fight attack. Her nose bridge is incredibly good. I already read that bit. Where was I? Right. She personally finds sacrifice to be the height of folly and values artwork and dreams of raising a family. She is very stubborn and not driven and rarely feels the need to pursue even a modest success, which is probably why you're a milker, and occasionally can lose focus on the matter at hand and finds obligations confining. Though she is conflicted by this for more than one reason, and she does not easily hate or develop negative feelings. She is often cheerful and quick to anger and has an active imagination. She is grateful when others help her out, and she tries to return favors. She sometimes acts with little determination and confidence, and she winks when she is nervous, and she needs alcohol to get through the working day and doesn't really care about anything anymore. With brown widows. I wasn't aware that there was a brown variety of widow. Unless you happen to be allergic to the venom. Yeah, no, like, tarantulas aren't dangerous. Also, contrary to popular belief, spiders don't just go like, human, I bite you. Like, spiders never think that. Spiders only bite when they feel like when they are in fear for their lives, unless they're one of the super rare, ultra, like, aggro varieties. Like, only if you're crushing them. Drinking, jumping spiders, DF, all while playing Tome. Great backstories. Dwarf Fortress is a really good like game to idle and halfway pay attention to. You know, it's funny because like I've been told by some people on like YouTube and stuff that they don't like my streams because it's like a weird vibe, but it's like if you vibe with my streams, it's there's nowhere else to go. There really isn't many channels on Twitch like mine. If anything, I would say that there's almost none. If that. One of the best pieces of feedback I ever got from my stream is, Blind's stream is not a stream that you'll find organically. It's a stream that you either get recommended to or specifically seek out. And once you find it, it's impossible to leave. Which isn't true. Many people have stopped watching me. But that person still watches me. And it's been a very long time. From what you understand, that the venom of at most might make you feel sick for a day. Tarantulas from the old world tend to have worse effects. Yeah, I've never been bit by a tarantula. Although I did have a tarantula the size of a dinner plate hung off my shirt once. Here we have this thing called Cinema Zoo. And Cinema Zoo is basically like they have animals, like tame animals that they use to like educate kids, but also like they visit schools a lot. But they also have like animals trained to be used in film, and they basically will do like these little shows where they will just like show up at like a kids group or like a youth group and just like, here's a spider, we're gonna hang it on your shirt kind of thing, or like here's a bunch of weasels and they're friendly and you can pet them and that kind of thing. A lot of rescues and various like snapping turtles and stuff like that. They're cool. I really enjoyed the Cinema Zoo presentations when I was little. But every single time they're like, I need somebody who's very brave, who's not afraid of spiders. And then they they just start hanging tarantulas off of you. Aren't Jesus sent you here randomly? Yeah, that's generally how it happens. And then they'll just hang tarantulas off of you. It's sort of like a sort of a mini zoo thing. But yeah, I had like, it was like 5-6 tarantulas just hang out. And they're all perfectly tame, like docile spiders. Like they just kind of hang there. But I was just sitting there, this spider just like crawling up my shirt. Guys? Guys? You aren't likely to be bit. New worlds will. Yeah, no, like they're much more of the shoot hair at your face and play dead kind of critters. It's just like most snakes won't bite you unless they're starving. Like the vast majority of people who get bit by snakes in captivity are owners who aren't feeding their snakes enough. I know I was gonna do something with this room. Couldn't tell you what it was. I know this is my clothing industry. Speaking of clothing industry, how's my lovely elephant doing? Hey, look at that good little elephant. Look at all of your webs that you shot at my dogs. The poor dogs. Oh, I see why jobs are getting canceled down here. The door... Okay, I understand now why I'm getting combat reports. It's because I forgot to close those doors. That's why I'm getting combat reports. They keep walking in there, seeing the elephant and going, ah! Freaking out and then running back. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. If they're a weaver, could it be that you... If they're a weaver, I could be so... If they're a weaver, I could be so that I can risk your life on the job. So, I mean, I could absolutely make you into a weaver, but my weavers are getting their silk from this, which is pretty safe. Like, you're not going to be sprinting off into the caverns. But, I could give you this weaver. Shalon. Impale. Lift. Impale. I-F-I-C-A-T-I-O-N. Dwarven English tutors? Dwarven don't English, no. I don't think they have any language specialists. You used to have a pet chicken, but she died, unfortunately. You worship Ral, the deity of wealth. And within the last season, you didn't feel anything while in conflict because you walked in and saw the Forgotten Beast. You're 102 years old. 2 years past 100. It's pretty middle-aged for a dwarf. His very long sideburns are braided. And his very long mustache is arranged in double braids. His medium-length beard is arranged in double braids, and his hair is clean-shaven. His nose is hooked, and he has a round chin. His somewhat short ears are extremely narrow, and his pale pink skin is wrinkled. His gold eyes are slightly protruding, and his hair is pale chestnut, mixed with some gray. He personally thinks that the entire concept of sacrifice for others is truly disgusting, due to suffering the travesty of art defacement in 252. And he is affronted by leisure and time and leisurely living, and greatly respects those that observe decorum and maintain their dignity. Sees the denial of impulses as vain and foolish, and respects the law and sees no value in holding back complaints and concealing emotions. This dwarf sounds like a Karen. Personally, dreams of creating a great work of art, and this dream was realized. He is a nervous wreck, definitely a Karen. And he drops any activity at the slightest hint of difficulty, or even the suggestion of effort being required. He is greatly moved by art and natural beauty, and he is troubled by this since he dislikes the natural world. He is quite polite and tends to avoid crowds. He can handle stress, and is not particularly interested in what others think of him. He doesn't seek out excitement and often feels lustful. He occasionally overindulges and is pleased by his own appearance and talents. He lowers his eyes when he's nervous, and he needs alcohol to get through the working day. Does not mind being outdoors at least for a time, and doesn't really care about anything anymore. I think chat's the closest thing we have to an English tutor. But you're weaving thread into cloth, so you're already on the job. Sacrificing for others. Huh. It's distressing, to say the least. So now they can go collect all these webs, get all these removed. Should suddenly see a bunch of collect webs jobs kick in. They run in here and they collect all these webs. We also had a land titan that also that shot fire that we were trying to capture, and it dove into my lava pit, and I was like, oh, it must be lava proof because it didn't catch on fire. And we were building a way out of the lava, a way for it to get out of the lava pit and into the walls, and then it just randomly burst into flames. I was like, what? You're supposed to be fireproof. What? It was very concerning. Truly disgusting, Impale. Truly. Sacrificing for others. Why would anybody do such a stupid thing? This is like the John Riccatello over at Unity saying, man, developers that aren't monetizing every single aspect of their video games are actually just fucking idiots. John Riccatello, the guy who thought it would be a good idea to pay for bullets in Battlefield. Because there is a really good quote from him in like 2010 where he says, you know, wouldn't it be a great idea if like, you had to pay for more bullets so you could keep playing? He was a popular figure when he was at EA Games. So, you know, chat, there is one problem that I have with Dwarf Fortress's release date. And that is the Callisto Protocol comes out just a few days before. And realistically, I'm probably going to have a key for Dwarf Fortress by the time Callisto Protocol comes out. And so in my opinion, the worst part about when Dwarf Fortress releases is that it's probably going to equal me not being able to play Callisto Protocol. Which means I guess I get to go full patient gamer with it. What do you mean we'll make less money if we try to make people spend more? See, here's the thing. It fucking worked for the sports games. It's more like, what do you mean people will get mad at us if we try to make them spend more money? I'll be back in a sec, chat. Gotta go take a piss. All right. Let's continue. Although I will say that John Riccatello has done better for himself than a certain someone trying to make people pay money for a frickin' check mark. Just saying. Speaking of that, just as a reminder to anybody else who's also saying fuck Twitter, you can follow me on Mastodon there if you are so inclined. Not that I'm gonna totally quit Twitter or anything, because it's still a useful work tool, but I'm trying to like build up alternatives, shall we say. I like to keep my options open. And the concept of Dwarf Fortress releasing in 27 days is just kind of wild to me. 27 days. What about Dwarf Fortress releasing in 27 days? You can't create an account? Or what, on Mastodon? Well, I mean, you can. It's just a matter of which server are you making an account on. And is the server that you're making an account on currently available to make accounts? Because Mastodon is decentralized and every server is running on a different server somewhere. So you have to find a server that's actively accepting new invites. So my bet would be, because the one that I'm on, which is mass.to, has been having massive user influxes. Let's say they went from, when I signed up just a few days ago, they had about 30,000 users. They're now up to about 50. So massive server influxes. So if you need an account, I would recommend going to just mastodon.social or one of the other bigger Mastodon servers. You thought it was a nice idea? I've been aware of it for ages, and I think I actually have another account somewhere on some other instance of Mastodon from ages ago. Because I remember looking into it in 2016. But then that particular Twitter apocalypse wasn't anywhere near as, like, detrimental as the current one. They're just getting hammered? Yeah. So just go find a smaller instance of Mastodon and sign up to that, and then you can just build your own little network. Having one to be on the largest instance is a misunderstanding of how it works. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm probably not even going to stay on the instance that I'm currently on. Right, I might actually just move my shit somewhere else. I might actually just move to that game dev one. Or see if... It's like, I don't know why, but I feel like a streamer Mastodon instance would just be insufferable as fuck, so... It's not that I... Like, when people hear me talk about Twitch, they might just, like, really quickly think that I hate this entire industry. I don't. I hate streaming as a lifestyle brand. If that makes sense. I love streaming as an industry and the thing that it enables me to do and like the kind of creativity and entertainment I can build on different platforms and like the people that I can connect and the way I can affect people's lives and how I can entertain people and the games that I can show people. I hate the fact that it all goes through massive corporations that make buttloads of money. And that, like, it's a popularity-based industry that just feels like... I heard of podcasting? I have a podcast, if that's what you're asking. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by 2.0. But... Sponsored by Corsair, Monster Energy, and Hype. What about Red Bull? Red Bull actually sponsors more stuff than Monster Energy does, at least when it comes to streams. Well, the 50-50 thing isn't the problem that I have. I actually don't have that big of an issue with Twitch taking 50% of sub revenue specifically. Running a platform like this is expensive. It's a podcast movement. Can you give me a TLDR without me having to Google shit? Oh yeah, no, I'm out. Thanks. Like you had me interested and then you lost me. Sorry. Well, why would you need an elevation feature? Like, see, here's the thing. Like, I've been of the opinion for a really long time that if you're focusing entirely on Twitch revenue, you're doing this job wrong. Like, just straight up. Like, you need to be focused on splitting your revenues across as many platforms as possible. And if you're not doing that, you are a fucking moron. You should be building direct crowdfunding on as many platforms as possible. And yes, accept money from Twitch or whatever your main streaming platform is. But that should not be the priority. Well, because I don't have issues with how RSS feeds and self-hosting RSS podcast works. right? I don't have an issue with how, like, so I guess here's the thing, Moldy Fuzz, right? I have no issues with how podcasts work currently. Podcasts are not a concern for me, okay? Podcasts are a fun side thing that I do. And when I stated I hate the way Twitch works, I mean the people that work in this industry around me. It's not the act of the way the industry itself works, right? When it comes to things like data, when it comes to things like personal contact information, I want it to be decentralized and I want control over it. But you just stating, it's a podcast movement, check it out. We're working on decentralized streaming apps. No, you lost me. Sorry. Like, I do not care about changing RSS feeds. Podcasts are fine. Yeah, no, I have no problems with how podcasts work. I'm an idiot? Wow, you're nice. Okay. That escalated quickly. Hear that, chat? I'm an idiot. Copyright Moldy Fuzz. But yeah, no, I have no problems with how my hobby podcasts go out currently. RSS works just fine for me. Podcasting is a thing that I do for fun on the side. And I'm totally fine with the way it works currently, and I don't need it to be decentralized. So, no, I'm good. I'm really, really glad that you're, you know, I asked for a TLDR and you didn't really give me one, and then you just jumped directly to insults based off of somebody who, you know, has been doing this for a living for the vast majority of his adult life. So, you know, yes, I'm clearly the idiot here. Vile Force of Darkness has arrived. We got goblins, which is nice. Means I gotta lock the dwarves inside. Where exactly are they? Okay, I see where they are. Which group did these guys come from? What's up, Spliso? The Splicer? Splicer Zero? I guess how you say that. On the item is a rendition of the least poisons. An image of a tetrahedral tetrahedra. Symbol of the curse of entering a goblin civilization. I haven't actually been attacked by these guys before. These were some of the ones that I was poking. The curse of entering. Run by Kithpala Sporoloroth, Tolon Mambu, Istro. Fascinating. I wonder what you are, monster. I kind of wish it would tell me what it was. There's no tech tree in Dwarf Fortress. No, Is it similar to RimWorld? I'm trying to say, I mean, it's similar to RimWorld in that you build a fortress. But that's kind of where the similarities end. Like, there's no tech tree in Dwarf Fort. There's no... Well, I guess there sort of is. But it's more of a, once you hit lava, then you gain access to a different tier of furnaces. But aside from that, there is no, like, tech tree in Dwarf Fort, right? So... Not really. But... It's really, as somebody who has thousands of hours of time in RimWorld, which I do, and also thousands and thousands of hours in Dwarf Fort, I have a hard time comparing the two because of how completely, totally different they are. It's sort of like asking me to compare Civilization 5, let's just say, with Checkers. It's like, well, they're both strategy games. And in both games, you move pieces around on a board. But aside from that, they're so totally, utterly, and completely fucking different that it's really, really difficult to state this is how the gameplay loops are similar because they're not, if that makes any sense. It's trying to compare you because you only have experience on one side. To give you an idea, just like in broad strokes, right? RimWorld is this wasn't its intended outcome, but in simple terms, it's going to sound mean. I'm not trying to be mean. RimWorld is a strategy tower defense game where you have to manage the moods of a small group of people, right? Dwarf Fortress is a world simulation that doesn't care about your existence, doesn't directly try to kill you. Sometimes it will, but generally doesn't. Where you interact with the outside simulation from within one tiny point on the map. So the gameplay loop of Dwarf Fortress is similar in that you're building rooms, you're laying out areas, you're requesting the dwarves to build certain types of items and furniture and crafts, and you build up defenses, you train a military. That in that respect, sure, they're similar-ish. But in wider strokes, when you get further out, there's such vastly different games that it is hard to explain. I mean, the gameplay loop of Dwarf Fortress is managing your dwarves and keeping them happy, right? It's providing them with what they need. It's giving them activities and things to do. You have no direct control over them. Even when you have control over the military, which you can give orders to and tell them to go in certain places, you still can't specifically tell a dwarf to go to a place. There is no direct control. You simply organize them by job and automate a fortress, basically. And when I say automate, I mean like you can go right down to the granular if-then statements of whether or not certain things should go into certain stockpiles. Like you can practically program Dwarf Fortress to play itself if you want. It is very much a simulation about building up a fortress on a point in the map and then trying to extend that to some form of goal that you might have. Looks like Minecraft text. That's what it looks in vanilla. I have a custom font, which I can turn off pressing F12, not F11. That makes it go full screen. Think about it this way. Dwarf Fortress is the original make-your-own fun game that games like Minecraft before it had a quest were heavily inspired by. And that is what it is. You know, maybe your goal in a particular fortress is to build a giant happy face underground. Maybe your goal is to exterminate every living human on the world. Maybe your goal is to find Satan and murder an army of demons. Maybe your goal is to steal godlike metals from the spires that were thrust up from the underworld in the time before time. Maybe your goal is to steal all of the books in a world. Maybe you want to slay dragons. And you can achieve almost any of those goals from a particular fortress. Do you actually get anything from doing any of these goals? No. But the point of Dwarf Fortress is to create as compelling a narrative as possible for yourself. Well, I need to lock the dwarves inside because we are under siege. But, you know, I'm an idiot according to chat, so... What do I know? I'm going to continue quoting that for the rest of the day, by the way, Chad. Remember, I'm an idiot. Don't worry about it. Your goal is to typically make glass coffins for all the dwarves that are bound to die in your fort. I mean, glass is easy to make once you have access to it. The problem is, like, making it in quantity. Yeah, absolutely. But here's the other thing that I do need to mention about Dwarf Fortress, right? For the few people that just tuned in that are brand new, seeming like. In RimWorld generates you a map, right? And it's like either a whole map, a whole globe, or like a portion of a globe, right? If you generate a whole globe, you just get more icons, right? That's all it does. It just gives you little icons and like goals, and some of these are like hand-built areas, some of them are generated, and they might have a handful of guys in each location. Awesome, CC. You got to take good care of that. That's a rare find, that. But you get a globe, right, in RimWorld. In Dwarf Fortress, you get this. And this isn't... Well, first off, they're flat in Dwarf Fortress because mathematically you can't make squares, like tiles, into a sphere. So they're flat worlds in Dwarf Fort. But this isn't just a map. This is several hundred years of history, religions, forms of poetry. Every single individual character is tracked and their entire family tree is tracked. Millions of creatures, literally. Don't ever look at the count of cave spiders in a map unless you want to burn the entire map down with fire. Books, creatures, gods, demons, cultures, factions, their inner politics, wars, rebellions, religious persecution, I'm kind of blanking on a lot of things. Villains and their goals, their kind of mafia families, as well as all of the randomly generated creatures that populate each world. And so it generates you an entirely unique clockwork world that's constantly moving, shifting, changing, and evolving with you as you're playing. As an example, I don't know how much of this we'll see right now because my corner of the world's kind of quiet, but if I go to the world map and I hit, not H, if I hit N, it should give me all news and happenings in my region. So my fortress right now is right here, that little A, because there is an army known to be besieging me right now. But currently it looks like these humans up here are actually at war with this dwarven faction down here. That's interesting. I think it's humans. Yeah, these humans are currently invading this dwarven settlement right here. Means maybe we need to go to war with the humans. Over here is a bunch of goblins that are running human towns, and down here is my civilization. There's some scattered dwarven fortresses down here in this valley and some more up here in this mountain, and as you can see, the goblins are actively invading them from their locations into up here. So it's this massive clockwork world that completely is does not care about your existence. And the other thing is, when Premium launches on the 6th, it's not going to include the third mode in the game, but there's a third mode in the game, and if you've heard of RimWorld, I'm going to assume you've heard of Kenshi, and Kenshi is the easiest example. Let's just say Dwarf Fortress also has Kenshi in it, where you can play a single-player RPG as a single character or as a party of characters, and you can go around on adventures around the world. You can hunt for food, you can cook food, you can gather resources and water, you could build a fortress, you could kill an entire town, you could go on quests for a town and find kidnapped children, you could slay a dragon, you could go kill Satan, become a god. It's a whole nother side to this game that the wider, especially the RimWorld community who's heard of Dwarf Fortress doesn't even realize largely that adventure mode exists. You just want to enjoy the main mode too? Gotcha. Yeah. No, it's and that's why when people ask me, they're like, how close is the loop to RimWorld? It's like, well, it's really nothing like RimWorld. It's exactly like RimWorld except for all of the parts where it's nothing like RimWorld. But remember, I'm an idiot, so what do I know? By the way, that guy tuned out a while ago, so I'm just keeping that line going because I'm just way too amused by, just immediately trying to sell me on something and then getting offended when I'm not interested in it, considering it wasn't something I was talking about in the first place, followed by, one of my dwarves is getting the shit kicked out of him. Rest in peace, Dastot. That looked painful. Getting puckered full of arrows. Ow. Literally just got beaten down with the pummel of a sword and is now getting pincushioned. That's pleasant. I'm very sorry. Dastot, rest in peace. You wax worker? It's okay, you weren't useful anyway. Alright, let's jump down here. Whoops, if I can hit the right button. Pull the gold door lever, dwarfs. Dev have a better understanding of the main mode, and you will give it a shot. I guess, at the end of the day, just realize that Dwarf Fortress is the granddaddy of colony sims, but it's also got a lot more in common with a lot of old god games than it necessarily does with modern colony sims. into the adventure and roguelike. Well, we don't know exactly when that's going to be added into premium because it still needs its UI to be rebuilt, right? But, and it also has some performance issues in adventure mode that I know that they want to work on. But I will say, if you're interested in Dwarf Fortress, you've stumbled on a good channel, because on the 17th of this month at 3 p.m. Pacific, after I come back from my weekend in Las Vegas, Tarn Adams is going to be joining me on stream. We're going to be chatting. I've done 7 chats with him in the past, some including both halves of Bay 12. So let's see how high these fly. Let's follow these. Whee! Not bad. Also, something that I need to start doing. I need to pause time briefly, and I need to not pull the do not pull lever. I need to pull the lava towers lever. I need to get the lava pumping. You'll know when they're pumping. Come on, Dwarves, pull the lever. You hope the... Why are you apologizing? Oh, because you missed the line? Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, me too. I mean, I want the global political options in this game to be better. Okay. Why are we not spinning? Oh, I see why. Because that's not connected, apparently. All right, well, hopefully a dwarf can get up there and connect that. Let's pull the red door real quick. There we go. Slam the door shut on him. Because I need to fix that. Let's see. Ashen, the stoneworker, is going to go construct a building. Let's just make sure you can get that done. How a world is formed? No, I completely agree. I think that, like, there's a lot of, like, half-built mechanics in Dwarf Fort. And I think that's the biggest concern I have about Premium's release. Is Dwarf Fortress is an incredible game, but it's also a very unfinished game. And will always be a very unfinished game. And it's just kind of part of playing and enjoying Dwarf Fortress. You just have to be able to accept a very unfinished game in a lot of ways. As awesome as it is, it has its moments where you really kind of go, I'm sorry, what doesn't work this way now? I have to do what now? And all that sort of stuff. And that tends to kind of suck for a lot of people. Okay, so I got to pull that lever again, right? See, here's the thing. Dwarf Fortress isn't moddable in the same way that RimWorld is. So, no, it won't. I'm going to be polite to you. No, it won't. Dwarf Fortress is extremely moddable, but not in the same way that RimWorld is. I missed more. TLDR, I was complaining that I don't like streaming as a I don't like streaming as a lifestyle brand. I like streaming as a entertainment medium, and I was just kind of complaining about disliking the way some people who are newer to this treat it as a lifestyle brand and not as like an entertainment medium, and that drives me nuts. And then Rando in chat was just like, hey, well, have you heard of Podcaster 2.0? And I was like, no, enlighten me. And then they immediately started nattering on about decentralized stuff. And I was like, actually, you know, like, I'll read about this later. I'm not interested. Like, you've lost me. I'm not interested in that because, like, I'm talking about streaming first and foremost. And they're like, oh, we're working with decentralized streaming platforms. And they're like, and it's made by the person who made podcasting originally. It's like, okay, cool. But, like, that's not what I was complaining about. And, like, I do podcast, but I podcast as a side hobby, right? As, like, a thing for fun. And then they called me an idiot. Tuned out. So I just think it's amusing. Did Tarn say that he'll release the game open source after his death? No. I think that's only the community that's ever said that, but like there is like protections in place where the game will be like available for people post like release if it needs to be. Considering it's archived in a museum of modern art. Yes. Also, if it sells 1 million copies, he said this. Just give me a second to pop up the thingy. And and I do have a million as a specific note because there's a quote from him on a different article about this exact subject, which is... So this is a question on one of my chats with Zach and Tarn from
more hands bug fixing for you
July.
In the future, maybe not immediately.
Yeah, that would be a post-release thing. It's something we've talked about, though. Yeah, we don't really know. Like the release is going to open a lot of doors. It looks like, right? And then I don't have to be so paranoid about the code and that kind of thing. Because I haven't even trusted people with NDAs, right? No one's seen it that hasn't like reverse engineered it. I mean, some people have gotten that far or gotten pretty far along those lines, but even the people that did the Mac and Linux ports were not working from the DF code. They were working from these weird little side projects I made that mimicked it. I mean, those people were heroes. They're able to accomplish that without the game, right? And but yeah, once we're up and running and everything feels more stable, and we've got our stuff sorted out, then we've talked about all kinds of possibilities of getting people to look at it, but also releasing pieces of it maybe. Like I thought it'd be interesting. Maybe you can take all of World Gen and just kind of throw it out there, see what happens.
He's talking about open
Careful
sourcing.
what you say around.
He's talking about open sourcing World Gen. Soon, potentially. So, if you want bits and pieces of Dwarf Fortress open sourced, you might get that in the next year. If you play your cards right and sell enough copies of this video game. Which, frankly, is what I want. I don't want them to open source the whole game. I think that would ruin it. But pieces of it? Absolutely. Going down. That's not a good sign. Where are they headed? There's no way into the fortress through there. Yeah, there's literally no way into the fortress through there. Are they going to try and jump down? But I don't know. I also, at the same time, don't think that we should be pressuring Zach and Tarn to do things that they don't want to do. And trust me, a lot of people really want to do that. A lot of people really want to be like, man, you guys need to give away your code for free. That just kind of sucks. Oh my god, a lot of things are about to go flying. Whee! sploosh. Phineas, thank you very much for the 29th month. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Let's not actually pull that lever. Let's make sure none of them landed on the upper levels. I don't see any of them up here. Perfect. So there's a bunch of dudes burning down there. My dwarves are beating the crap out of those trolls. And we can turn on the floodgates now. And this is my defenses. This is a pretty effective murder tower, methinks. Pretty effective murder tower, if I do say so myself. Let's pull this lever once again. And then it stops pretty quickly and fills back up. And we put the green doors back down. We can let more of them in. No, this is ASCII. No, we're using a tile set to make things easier on people. But yes, it's still an ASCII tile set. Oh wow, we actually killed we actually killed a beak dog by flinging it into the air. That's actually kind of impressive. Wow. How many of them did I take out? About half of them. Not bad. I'll take it. Take a minute for that stuff to just clear off a little bit. How does it fill it back up? So I'm filling it with these pumps. Those movement things in the middle, those are pumps. We're pumping lava from the ground here, up to here, and then up to here. And we've filled it using the volcano and a series of floodgates. And then once the lava drains off the edge, which takes a minute, then they can walk through again. And then we dump more on them. But yes, I generally play this game in ASCII. No, I won't be playing it in ASCII when premium releases. Was SoundSense? SoundSense fucking sucks. That's all I have to say about SoundSense. The music that's included with it by Simon is phenomenal, but the general sound pack fucking blows. Terrible fucking sound pack. To me, it like just ruins everything about DF. Very much looking forward to the premium sound pack, but yeah, no. SoundSense sucks. But then again, I feel like most of the stuff kind of included with a lot of those newbie-friendly packs just kind of suck. So maybe I'm not the best person. You can't wait to see that awesome building art that people have come up with when DF is released? What, like for, like, when you say art, do you mean like the stuff that Cupo makes? Or do you mean like the tile set art? Need randomly generated... I read that as bird noises. I feel like randomly generated bird noises would be easier than bard noises. Although if you want randomly generated bard noises, you gotta play War Sim. They definitely play random notes. Is there any logic to it? No. Oh, that's a Snick. I see a picture of Snick. Fiona's adorable. Remember. I'm just trying to see if Sanic's gonna like elaborate a little bit. It's like the stuff that Cupo makes is fucking bananas, but it's like psychedelic art indoor fortress. Okay, what's the blue? Okay, how the hell did troll blood get on my pumps? What, Cupo? Here, I'll just show you our Twitch channel and then give you a link. When I say the psychedelic art that Cupo makes, I mean like, hold up, just double check. I mean like this kind of shit. Don't ask me how she does this, because I'm not totally sure. I don't know how any of this works. But like, that's what I mean. I mean like, this sort of stuff. What are the red squiggles? In my fortress, the red squiggles are lava, yes. Yeah, she's a fucking wizard. So. There you go. Instant fall? Her streams are like inconsistent. Like she'll stream a bunch and then vanish for 3 months. So keep that in mind, but just like reorganizing my tabs now because I got too many. But yes, the red tildes are lava, the blue tildes are water. Where are all these? Trolls are hanging out right there. I'm sorry, why are they going up my volcano? Alright, I mean, if they insist on going up my volcano, I'll just dump lava on them. That's fine. Hold up. I actually have a lever for this. They appear to be walking up my lava trench. So I do, in fact, have a... Haven't seen her in a while. And she disappeared about... it's been about 10, 15 days. Till a bit, maybe like 2 weeks, I'd say. It's not like 8 months or whatever. That's why you love artists. I mean, she's a hobbyist, right? Doesn't stream full-time or anything. Run away from the lava flow, you moronic. Green boys. Are they actually green? Dark violet, emerald skin. Yeah, green boys, run away. Here comes the lava flow. Because, you know, what you gonna do when the lava come for you? Drown is the answer. They're like, oh god, it's okay, they can outwalk it. I have a lever for this. Oh, actually, yeah, it does kind of... Did you hear the one about the gremlin and the lever? That does actually sound like a dwarven joke. Can't drown in lava? Try me. Yeah, I know. You'd bounce off lava, wouldn't you? Like, you'd skid across the top and burn and charcoalize. If charcoalize is even a word. $41 out of 72. Damn, that's a pretty good score. I don't think even I get that high of a ratio, but I also don't harass people for names. I just kind of forget half the time to name people. Should have looked up who that dwarf's family was, the one that got stabbed to death right there on that corner. I should have looked up who that dwarf's family was, because maybe we could have gotten some interesting little tidbits about what their kid goes on to do or something, but oh well. Like peas and carrots? I mean... Peas and carrots actually go that well together? I don't know. I've never encountered a carrot that wants to violently pull on a pea, but Never asked a carrot, though, so I guess I don't really know about what a carrot's goal in life is. Whereas with a gremlin, their entire life goal is to simply pull the nearest lever. The one problem that I have with this is I kind of wish that I had, like, an alternate route that they could go through. Where I could fill multiples like this, but... just be like, oh, well, you made it past the lava. Well, now we have a faster way of clearing it so that you can go again! But we don't really have a thing like that, which kind of sucks. You know, I gotta say one of my favorite pieces of Dwarven science was learning that if you encase demons in obsidian and then mine them out, they're not dead. Like, it doesn't actually kill them. It was one of my favorite pieces of Dwarven science. Is that they are as, like, hard to kill as Han Solo. How's the fort going today? It's pretty good. I'm just waiting for some lava to wrap so that we can burn more goblins. How's Alden? Come on, dwarves, move over to the exit. But currently, fort's going all right. I haven't actually gotten anything evil in the fort yet, so. You need to keep stuff on the encased demon, like held items or clothes or other inventory, because that, I mean, well, demons don't have any inventory generally, so that would be mighty difficult. It sounds like a potential weird storage system. I mean, like, if you're asking about, like, encasing inanimate objects, like, you could absolutely, I don't know, encase like 400 tables in one tile, but like you could also just like leave them there. You don't really need to encase them to store them. Like, you can just, like, I mean, there's the classic line with Dwarf Fortress, right? You can fit 1,000 dragons into one tile as long as 999 of them are lying down, right? And that kind of goes for inanimate items too. So if you're talking about just like storing items, then yeah, you can just do that. Although it might damage clothing. In case, I mean, actually, anything that's flammable would just burn. It's just demons are fireproof. So, like, anything that's not lava safe would just, like, melt / burn / turn into charcoal / become useless. If you were to try to encase it in obsidian. So, ooh, well, that's exciting. The goblins are still here, but the Cyclops go. Snustrostraza. Asmba has come. A giant humanoid monster with a single eye in its forehead. Sure it's not a 5-head? Somewhat greasy hair is extremely long. He is generally thin. Build with some muscle on it and fat and with some muscle and fat on it. His dark olive eye is sunken. He has a narrow chin, and his somewhat broad ears are flattened. His nose bridge is convex, and his head is tall. His quite dense eyebrow is slightly low, and his hair is charcoal, and his skin is raw umber. He is naked, and his name translates to the Fair Gems, the Last. Seems to be booking it straight towards this little patch of goblins over here. This capital C. They start loosing arrows or bolts probably. Runs straight up to our goblin friend, Swords Gobby, Dastot. No, that's a dwarf. Stotsu Teeth menaces. He must be menacing his teeth, I would say. The Cyclops strikes, but the goblin blocks the shot. Seems to jump backwards if a couple more bolts are fired at him as he skips out of the way. The Cyclops strikes at the goblin once again, but the shot is blocked, and the goblin swordsman attacks the Cyclops, but he jumps away. The Cyclops attacks the goblin, but she jumps away. The fighting continues, and the Cyclops charges at the goblin swordsman and collides with the goblin swordsman. The goblin swordsman is knocked over and tumbles backwards. The goblin swordsman attacks the Cyclops, but she jumps away. The fighting continues, much more dodging. The goblin pikeman stabs the Cyclops in the right hand with his copper pike, tearing the fat. Chat, do you guys think that this Cyclops is going to get any kills? What do you think? Seems to have knocked one over. The Cyclops misses the goblin pikeman. A tendon in the skull. Hold on. A goblin pikeman attacks the Cyclops, but she jumps away. The goblin pikeman stabs the Cyclops in the head with his copper pike, tearing the muscle. A tendon in the skull has been torn. Force pulls the neck. The goblin pikeman stands up. Yeah, it's not quite game, but that's going to hurt. Our Cyclops falls over. Cyclops misses the goblin swordsman. The goblin swordsman slashes at the Cyclops in the lower arm with her silver longsword, tearing the fat. The Cyclops then attacks the goblin. Bits start flying off the Cyclops, I think. Was knocked unconscious. It seems like a 0 is going to be the Cyclops kill. And they pile on top and start puckering him full of holes. What a shame. That's bullying. Yes. Would second that. The last indeed. These goblins appear to be moving towards the entrance once again, meaning they must have a way in. Chat, can I get some Fs for the poor Cyclops who tried so hard? Cyclopses are kind of weak. Death. It's kind of like an unspoken secret. It's like Minotaurs, Cyclops, and Giants. They all sound and act super scary, but like if you have an even remotely trained army, you can just like take them out at the ankles and they just kind of fall over. It's scary in adventure mode. Unlike dragons. Dragons are fucking terrifying. Or anything that shoots fire. It's fucking terrifying. Where are you going, Gobby? Why are you going uppy? I thought you were walking into the fort. Oh, I see. You don't even have a way in yet. Literally just need this to disappear. One of these pieces of lava. And then they have a direct line in. This is all the fight he had. He didn't put up much at all, yeah. Now they can come in. I'm assuming. Yep, here they come. Sweet. Time for another round of burning. Got a very... Trolls in a very inopportune spot. I'm just going to send the military in here. You can eat food, but apparently there's no drinks in here. I just need to have the military down here. Let's also place a squad right there. In case of emergency. Here comes 2 different trolls. I mean, they do just straight up have access to that. That's kind of funny. Where are you headed? Prepare raw fish? How about I just, like, Okay, never mind. We'll let this military squad in here. There goes 5 of them. Don't know where the 6th is. But let's just lock them in there. So here comes one troll that's going to walk in and get stabbed to death in a moment. So this troll kind of comes around the corner and goes, ah, ba-da, ba-da. I'm a troll walking into the Dwarven fort. I've made it. I'm here to rape and pillage the entire Dwarven population single-handedly. And he comes around the corner and gets pummeled to death by my dwarves. Beat. Then the even more goblin. Okay. All right. Well, let's wait a little longer. I would like there to be more goblins. I mean, the Cyclops was here to save us. You know, the Cyclops was trying to make peace with us by killing. Oh, there's another troll at the door. I'm sure it's dead too. Oh, I see it. Yeah, you're right. There is another troll at the door. Well, let's just run up to it and stab it to death, shall we? Hopefully none of my dwarves fall into the lava, which they might. No charging and tripping. All right, dwarves, turn around. All right, well, there it goes. Got him. Thank you for the heads up. Certainly didn't see it. Oh, there goes. Remember I said, like, hopefully none of my dwarves fall in the lava? Anyway, good job, Thycut. 10 out of 10. You did the thing I told you not to do. Excellent. Well done. Did the one thing I told you not to do. The part where, you know, you go dive into the lava. Very smart. 6 out of 10 there, Dwarf, for intelligence. Let's just pull the red door. That should be enough. I'm also going to give that one troll sitting there a mighty surprise. In a moment, right? About... Meow. Whoop. What? Oh, come on. Okay, fine. Pull the lever again. Just real quick. Pull it again. Just Dwarf, just pull it again. And Troll's just like, what the fuck was that, man? Anyway. What, Troll? Next one. Wait, hold up. Wasn't there one that got passed? I swear that one got passed. Nope, not that one. Oh, there he is. All right, let's just tell the dwarves to go off this guy. Just gonna deal with him, please. Okay. There's what? That little squad down there. Let's wait until that little squad makes it in. These guys can go around the corner. And that's when we'll slam the door. Oh, unless they're turning around now. They appear to be... Yep, they're leaving. All right. So this means lava, top floodgates, green door, red door. Close all the doors and turn on the lava. And we're going to go flying. Right about... Nope, no, we're not. This one is, though. Right about... Never going to get old. Never is that going to get old. And then the outer towers turn on, and the rest is charcoal. I really, really, really like this defensive structure. I know it's not the most optimal, the most efficient, or even, like, really a good defensive structure. It took way too long to build. It's exceptionally impractical, but my God, does it entertain me. Like... Look at that. It's just a fiery glass pyramid with towers of death in it. Like, that is fantastic. Like, truly, it's fucking fantastic. All right, so let's do that. And top Top of the lava floodgates. I hope you guys are as entertained by this whole thing as me, because my god. And then I can tell the dwarves to just go kill this. Impressed with the commitment? It took me like 2 weeks to build this stupid thing. Like, I can't even begin to like exaggerate like how long it took me to build this dumb thing. How deep is this lava? 5 of 7? Yeah, it's fine. Although this isn't my dumbest commitment. My dumbest commitment would be Long Death, which is a fortress that I've intentionally kept alive for 427 years as of today. The only thing is required is that it gives that beautiful sizzle. It certainly does. Yeah, I've lurked in your streams a couple times. Use the water to flash freeze it every season? Yep. If you're who I think you are. Your name looks familiar. And stabby. Splat. There you go. Making an Egypt theme? Yep, no, I've seen that. No, I mean, if people have streamed Dwarf Fortress, I've probably lurked at least for a minute. And unless I either A, I hate the music being played, or B, I find you insufferable, odds are pretty good I've lurked for more than a couple minutes. And yes, there are some people I find to be completely insufferable who stream this game. But, you know, I'm also not perfect. Some people find me insufferable, so yeah, it's all fair. Although I will say it is just nice to have other people streaming this game, because I'll be honest, like, it's been very lonely over here the past few years. Okay, it's time to open up the elephant webs. But yeah, it's been rather lonely here for a while. Rim of Savants. We need to offer them stuff so we can become a mountain home. That's some nightmare fuel. So we have this thing. It's a huge eyeless elephant. It has 3 long hanging tails, and it squirms and fidgets. Its cobalt hairs even beware its webs. And so I get it to shoot its webs at these dogs, and then we collect its webs, and we make it into cloth. We're also, you know, making glass. This is my glass industry right here. Long line. They run this way, over to there. They collect the sand, and then they run over, and then glass. You'd stream if you had a better mic? Who needs a mic? I prefer having a Steve, or a Juan, or like an Adam, or an Amy. Mics are overrated. There's too many of them. Seriously, like if I knew the number of mics, if I could actually like sit here and count the number of mics that I've met in this industry, it would be off the charts. So like all I'm saying is that if you have the option, like go for just about anybody else before you go for a mic. People don't stick around. Yeah, running silent streams are different. You need a really good playlist for a silent stream, or you need to be like incredible at the game. I used to watch this one person who played Cities Skylines with just like a playlist on, and built these like ginormous and like ludicrously detailed. Oh hi Armor, how are you? And just like ginormous and ludicrously detailed cities and city skylines. I mean, it would take months to work on them. But then randomly one day his channel just like got banned because he was like playing so much copyrighted music. Oh, it kind of had it coming, but also it sucks. Harness the legendary silk farming. Do you have any tips for breeding cave crocodiles? You have one male one by luck, but you don't know how to capture his mate. Well, I mean, figure out where they're spawning in which cavern layer and place a buttload of cage traps. I think they need nest boxes because they lay eggs. Been a while since I fucked around with cave crocodiles, but I want the cave dragon that was on this map to show up again. Oh yeah, also I have a minotaur in a cage and I haven't decided what to do with it yet. It's not just in a cage, it's in a cage in my cavern lair. I'm not sure how it got down there, I'll be honest. Kind of have no idea, actually, why it's there. But at some point it ended up down there. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to premium releasing just because I'm looking forward to not being like the only person actively streaming in this directory every single day of the year. It's like I've been streaming Dwarf Fortress multiple times. Hey, my tickets for Amon Amarth, the Great Heathen Tour with special guests in Las Vegas. Looking forward to that. Have arrived, apparently, according to my email. I'm excited. That's going to be a fun show. I'm just going to star that email so I don't lose it. If the accused can slay the innocent... No, I mean, that's not how Dwarven Justice works. I let the Captain of the Guard sort out Dwarven Justice. Player Dwarven Justice is ineffective and generally just causes crappy moods, so I don't partake in such things. No, we let our Captain of the Guard handle any disagreements. So, nah, I'm good. You could. Dwarves already have their own justice system, though. They don't need my input. Cave Kias are trying to steal it. Actually, I think I like designated it to be built somewhere and then it got canceled because some sort of critter showed up. Dwarves hate witnessing violence. It gives them PTSD in a lot of cases. So if you build a Colosseum, which you can do, it is recommended that you set it up in such a way so that the dwarves can't actually see it. I just realized I have not one, but two Cyclopses up here. That's kind of funny. You can skip floors, and also the stairs are extremely simple. They're just worded badly. Yeah, glass is like not transparent. But I don't generally build Colosseums. I like building big weird contraptions. And like burninating things with lava. Usually my main strat is just find thing where there's lots of baddies, dump lava on head. That's my general defensive strat. Well, dwarves are anarcho-communists, so there's nothing for them to bet on. Nothing for them to bet with. They get paid in room and board, and money has no value. I have no idea what that is, Scooty. What about fireproof baddies? I mean, that's what sharp objects are for, generally. Oh, well, sure, but if you're just like, here are very specific things, like, I mean, I'm not a fan of Homestar Runner. I have seen clips of Homestar Runner. Am I a fan of Homestar Runner? Absolutely not. Drop minecarts on them? Minecarts are pathetically ineffective. Minecarts are good as a form of shooting stuff at things, and that's about it. Considering, like, a horse can stop a minecart with minimal injuries, dropping minecarts on things, not very effective. What are minecarts? Answer that question yourself. I almost never use minecarts because in the current game, they're just too fiddly, and I can make more effective defense systems faster without them, so I just don't bother. But looking forward to them only costing 2 clicks. Looking forward to them being much more efficient and quicker to place. Go that way. Work my way around. But to actually answer your question, Lamond, instead of just being a jackass, minecarts are things that run on rails in Dwarf Fortress, which I almost always just completely ignore the existence of, because, like I said, they're too annoying to really be worth fiddling with, in my opinion. And I don't really build the types of forts that are benefited from having long minecart tracks running across them, so I generally just don't bother. But I've built forts entirely designed around minecarts and using rollers and automating things and launching minecarts at things to kill them. They're fun enough, I suppose, but I guess the most entertaining thing to me about minecarts is when you realize that the game keeps track of inanimate objects' kill counts. And you can be like, I have a minecart with 350 kills! It's like, uh-huh. Apparently that minecart was a Navy SEAL. Insert Navy SEAL meme. So, I mean, minecarts are goofy, but... Have bycatch? What's bycatch? Remember, I'm an idiot. I don't know what any of these words mean. Minecart moment? I mean, there's the classic, like, my own dwarf got run over by a minecart, but... I had a human visitor walk into a fortress and walk through, like, a minecart, like, rail defense, like, minecart grinder defense system of, like, 40 minecarts, and somehow managed to dodge every single one of them. That was pretty funny, but not really. I don't, like I said, I don't really like minecarts, so I don't generally use them very often. Probably that random ass bard just like dodging every single one of them. It was pretty entertaining because we were all like yelling about whether or not he was gonna make it through, and he did somehow. Must have been like a legendary dodger in another life. The fuck are they dumping? Not that much stuff up there. Yes, there must be. Let's follow this critter's mutilated corpse as they all throw stuff off into the volcano. Fish you don't intend to catch in your nets as bycatch? Oh. Interesting. What, minecarts? I mean, their constructability will be. I don't know outside of that. Tarn has said that it's going to take 1 click for, like, start location and then 1 click for end location. So that will obviously be significantly more convenient. Outside of that, I don't know. The concept of being able to build a minecart track by just simply clicking on a starting location, and then an endpoint is very appealing. This is that Cyclops getting chucked into a volcano. Goodbye, Cyclops. You tried to save us. We respect it. Yeah, I don't know. I try not to speculate on things I don't know for certain, purely because, like, people do kind of take what I say as fact at this point. To the point where I kind of need to be careful about what I speculate on, which is why I kind of frustrate some people now when they're like, what thing about myths and magic are you the most excited about? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what's going to be in it, so what is there to be excited about? And that's kind of how I feel about, like, even some features in premium, because it's like, I haven't played it yet. I can't confirm anything, so it just makes it hard for me to speculate. Armor, thanks for checking out a gift sub. Jack, can I get a round of beers for Armor being kind and helping keep this strange channel funded? Appreciate you, dude. Was I making a kitchen there? I can't even remember. I was working on something. Regardless, I need to make an expanded kitchen down here. Actually, let's do this. Green glass pot. Let's just do 400 green glass pots. Pump those up higher above the blocks in priority. And let's build another kitchen. But yeah, just because, like, I have most of my fame at this point within the Dwarf Fortress community as the guy that makes the videos about what's happening in the video game, it just means I need to actually be, like, careful about what I confirm, even if I'm just, like, joking or speculating. Because people have this nasty habit of just believing everything that they read on the internet, and people are not very good at, like, figuring out context through the internet. So if I say something out of context, odds are pretty good it's going to get taken out of context pretty quickly. I've definitely had people ask me about stuff to speculate about stuff in the past, and then I've had to, like, reconfirm that was speculation. Not a confirmed feature. People make shit tricky, put it simply. I've had people, like, think that I'm working on the game. Like, I've had, like, an uncomfortably large number of people going, wait, you don't work for KitFox? Speculate on these nuts to death. So yeah, I've had some, like, weirdly. I've confused people, so I need to be careful. I guess. I don't know why, but These Nuts is, like, one of the few memes of, like, the last couple of years that is, like, almost evergreen at this point. It's still weirdly funny to me. Also, I was thinking about this last night while I was kind of stoned, and that's a lot of people have been like annoyed with Twitch recently for like various reasons, some perfectly legitimate, some not so legitimate. I think that like Twitter picked like the perfect time to become like the least favorite website on the internet, purely because I haven't noticed anywhere near as many people bitching about Twitch since, which is kind of hilarious to me. Blind IRL sprite confirmed? What? You mean like, what, me being a sprite in the video game? Nah. I should make dingbats into an actual creature mod though. We used to have a kind of an inside joke character creature mod that I used in some forts called dingbats, which were just basically what I call chat all the time. Fucking dingbats. I haven't said that word as much recently, but they literally just hung around in the caverns, and all that they did was like they would try and just get into your fort and like interrupt dwarves. They were kind of basically Crundles. They were like Crundles, except they would run away from fear if they saw any kind of combat. Whereas Crundles fight back. These things would just run away. And I called them dingbats. So we had dingbats in the caverns for a little bit. And then new version of the game came out and I never like reinstalled it because I forgot. So maybe once premium hits, we should make dingbats into an actual critter. It was around the time when I used to call chat wingnuts a lot too. You goddamn wingnuts. Conspiracy theory go? There's no conspiracy theory. Elon trolled himself backwards into buying a very expensive website because his own ego is too moronically gigantic to, not. He literally like reverse trolled himself into buying a thing. The actual conspiracy theory that I have is that he bought it so that he can bankrupt himself so that he doesn't need to pay child support to Grimes. That's my conspiracy theory, which is just sad. Like, it's not even a conspiracy theory. It's just sad. Is that he's trying to bankrupt himself so that he doesn't need to pay child support to somebody who honestly doesn't need it. But, he still should be paying child support. If normal-ass people have to pay child support if they have a kid, then so should the richest man in the world. In other news, Twitter's just straight up not loading now. Didn't know he had a kid? Oh, he's got a lot of kids. You should learn. You should read about Bill Gates, or not Bill Gates, Elon Musk's dad's number of kids. Because Elon Musk's dad's even stranger, but. I have a question. Is there a difference between something failing long-term and something becoming so irrelevant that it's a waste of time to even be involved in? Because, sure, Twitter will still exist in 5 years. But Yahoo Mail still exists. I would say Tumblr became more relevant in the last 4 years. Dig.com, as of the last time I checked, still exists. MySpace still exists. It's like Daily Motion still exists. That doesn't mean that they're useful or have any cultural relevance. Sure, Twitter will still exist probably in a couple of years. Will it be culturally relevant as it is now? Fuck no. MySpace does in fact still exist. It's owned by some rapper. MySpace. It's also like not properly loading. But anyway, that's MySpace. Yes, MySpace still exists. It's like been completely repurposed into a place where you can like book musicians and musicians have profiles. You don't think it will become a MySpace? Oh, I think it'll be less relevant than Dig. I mean, Dig used to be like Reddit and more popular than Reddit. Oh, of course, it's the only thing that has any clicks on it. It's a promotion, of course. Anyway, yeah. Dig used to be one of the most visited websites on the internet. I think Twitter will be as irrelevant as that if they keep going in the direction that they're going, because currently they're alienating their entire audience. You think it will still be relevant in 5 years? Sure. If they complete... Here's like Elon Musk's like #1 list of things that he needs to do to make Twitter stay relevant. Hire an actual fucking CEO who knows what they're doing in the social media space that isn't Mark Zuckerberg or as robotic as Mark Zuckerberg. Okay? Problem number 1. Thing number 2, delete your fucking Twitter account. Okay? Thing number 3, stop fucking talking about Twitter. Those are the 3 things that Elon Musk needs to do. And if he keeps talking and he keeps his Twitter account and he doesn't hire an actual CEO who knows what the fuck to do in the social media space, it will be just as irrelevant as the West Edmonton Mall. Nobody will care. It'll still exist and it'll still have users, but nobody will care. Or even better, it'll bankrupt him, which is what I'm actually hoping happens. The amount of Twitter exodus right now is unreal. It reminds me of when Tumblr banned porn. It's like Tumblr still exists. Is it relevant? Does it matter? No. Just straight up, does not matter. It would be funny if Twitter winds up bankrupting him and pulls down Tesla. The actual shame to me is like, Tesla's a neat company. It just sucks that the guy in charge sucks, right? And SpaceX is also a neat company. And it also just sucks that the guy in charge sucks. It's like, I don't really want either of those companies to cease existing. But I don't see them existing in anybody else's hands, and I don't see Musk selling, and I think he'd probably go down with the ship beforehand. So it's like, I kind of don't want the site to bankrupt him, but there is a world where it ceases to exist. And Twitter has struggled to maintain its profitability for ages and was just barely starting to gain profitability through borderline invasive amounts of ads. If not just straight up invasive amounts of ads, depending on your perspective and opinion. I would say invasive amounts of ads. But they've just managed to start becoming profitable, or at the very least breaking even and not just like falling deeper and deeper into debt every year. And he's destroyed that overnight. Like, the fucking moron literally went onto Twitter, posted alt-right conspiracy theories, and then told people to vote Republican. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you're going... That's how you kill a platform. And, like, people can say, well, Truth Social exists. It's like, sure, yeah, but Truth Social literally was about to fucking keel over and go bankrupt anyway. It's currently in debt. It's like $4 million or something, which isn't much, but that's also a tiny fucking piece of shit garbage platform that nobody fucking uses. So it's like... No. The way that the rate that they're going and the speed that they're going, I mean, maybe it'll end up being used by some non-English speaking community that never really noticed, but Twitter will be dead. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that, Frog. I wouldn't disagree with that. I hope Twitter dies. I'll stay on the ship until it dies, because I need it for work. Currently, because not enough people follow me on Mastodon yet. But it is a weird thing to witness. Besides, I think Unnormal, is it fair to say friend of the channel? I don't know, he follows me. I think that Unnormal has a good take here. Yes, Brian. It's gonna take us to Mars, but can't fucking figure out how to run Twitter. Also, I saw another tweet rattling around which amused me, which is, hold on a second. So if a CEO can be a CEO of 3 major corporations at the same time, CEOs must not do much. It's like, yeah, I kind of feel that. Which was just way too amusing to me. They're just the kings of delegation, which means they don't actually do anything. They just simply inform others that they have to do things for them. And they just happen to have enough money to pay them all, generally. Or they happen to have enough of other people's money to pay most of them, sometimes, until they lay everybody off. Most of the CEOs of companies you worked for worked pretty hard. Oh, sure. Like, I'm sure there's, like, exceptions to every rule, but, like, man, some of these people. But don't forget, chat. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is gonna be my new kitchen. They never really seem to suffer. That's called a golden parachute, sir. I've never met... Well, actually, that is not true. I have met people that are CEOs of small tech startups, and I've known a few of them over the years. Most of them, like, I'm amazed they don't keel over and die because of the amount of caffeine and drugs they inhale. I are stupid since you're, I think, lurking around. Are you picking up that Cuphead 2XLP? So it's a nice collection. It's been bouncing around for a while. They're founders? Founders that have given themselves the title of CEO? You're thinking of grabbing it? I wish I had budget for records right now. I just don't. I need to wait until the Canadian dollar gets better or the euro gets weaker or one of the two. Because right now it's like ordering a single record online ends up being about $80 for me. Oh, I'm talking with IR Stupid about something completely unrelated. Don't worry about it. Asking about a record that he posted on Discord. The Cuphead soundtrack, to be specific. So I'm thinking about moving the tavern from here to above this somewhere. Did I really do what I think I did? I absolutely did. Made that list of stuff out of the wrong type of stone, or out of stone instead of glass. Whoops. The top of the glass shop of the bass shop? I don't know what you mean by bass shop. But at the top of the glass pyramid, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking about like having some sort of like glass walkway from the side of the mountain up and into the top of the pyramid or something. Lava illuminated glass cafe. Yeah, something like that. I need to figure out how to actually make it work. A lava lamp. I mean, this thing would be glowing a whole lot. But yeah, I was thinking like maybe like up in this layer, maybe like one above it and like sitting on top of these towers, like in between the three of them, like just something up here. And I could do like a walkway from like inside of these, maybe like even from over here, like they could walk down along here and then across there and then like into this. But I kind of just want to get the top of it done first. Could do like multi-layered floors and stuff all the way up to the ceiling. Are locations interesting and deep? I didn't pay much attention to that release because college. What, in Dwarf Fortress? What do you mean by locations and which release are you referring to? I need a version number. Dwarf has begun a mysterious construction at a mason shop. Copper bars, gold bars, pineapple opals, limestone gizzard, stones, two more gold bars, briolette cut yellow zircons, and 2 pieces of obsidian. Make us something cool, Dwarf, or I swear to God I will, I don't know, be mildly disappointed. Mostly that. If you're not building a in-tavern guild hall, I don't actually know how you're keeping your dwarves sane. They are not only interesting, they are important to the like basic health of your dwarves and their basic sanity. It's literally like the first thing I do when I start a new fortress is I build a inn and tavern and a temple. They use them as places to socialize. They tell stories. They make friends. It's like the only way they can get married. They will sing songs. The guild halls teach masonry or the guild halls teach whatever skill that guild hall is assigned to. So say it's a mason shop, they'll teach masonry. If it's a clother's guild, they'll teach clothing, and children can learn the stuff. So you want to put toys into your guild hall so that the kids can learn it. You want to make them public so that anybody can access them, or you can leave them private and just have incredibly good dwarves teach each other to be better if you don't want to teach kids. Temples are important to acknowledge the religion system and get petitions for fancier temples. Also a place where they socialize and dance and use the musical instruments and all that other stuff. Yeah, you also get humans that show up and ask to be mercenaries in your fortress out of taverns. Same with temples. Libraries, you can get scholars asking if they can stay in your fortress for long term to study. And like they'll bring their own books and then they'll hang out and then eventually they'll petition for full fortress citizenship. And then you can have like, I don't know, like weird goblin scholars or goblin astronomers that show up to hang out. It also brings in criminals which want to steal your stuff, and then that can cause wars and other fun interactions. And it gives you a reason to interact with the justice system because, say they witness somebody taking an artifact off of a pedestal and passing it to a dwarf, you can arrest both the creature that convince them to do it, and then you can interrogate them and figure out who their boss is and figure out which tower their boss is in, or assuming they're even in a tower, and then go after them and invade the place where their boss is located. And there's all sorts of fun stuff you can do with those systems. I mean, you don't actually need wealth to acquire monster hunters, but you just need to be settled in a place where there are monster hunters, which is the actual problem. Like, you might just be in a quiet part of the world or in an area where there isn't just a lot of dudes running around. I once had a goblin king in one of my forts. He was a great king. He was a great king. He had a pet dragon, too. Put it in his office. Just open the caves? You need more than just opening the caves. You need to be in an active part of the world. You make them think that they'd be hunters? Well, I mean, here's the thing that you can do as well. If you go to the location screen, let's just say my temple, right? If you press R on the temple, you can set it so that visitors are welcome, citizens and long-term residents only, citizens only, or all visitors welcome. So if you don't want any visitors to show up for your tavern specifically, set it to long-term residents only. But if it's set to all visitors welcome, if nothing's showing up, it means either A, your area is just very quiet and there isn't a lot going on, or B, everyone's dead. Let's actually open up the library a little bit, since we're in kind of a safe-ish spot. Other than drinking or booze, then don't let them in your tavern. But yeah, no, they hang out in your tavern and they drink your booze and they will run down into the caverns and they will go stab stuff to death if stuff shows up. But if they have accepted temporary citizenship, if you've accepted a petition for them to stay in your fortress long term, odds are pretty good that they won't do much for the first year. If they're just hanging around and you say no, you can't, then they'll just go off into the caverns and go fight stuff and eventually leave the map. But if you grant them residency, then they will go pick a bed and sleep in it if you have those available to the tavern livers. And then after a year, they ask to join permanently. So if you can keep them alive, if they stay alive for 1 year and you're hanging out in your tavern drinking your booze, then you can get them as a permanent member of your fortress. Then at that point, you can give them jobs and labors and assign them to like a squad or something. I really like actually having just like a squad of humans or a squad of goblins in my forts. It's just kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, if your fort's just very peaceful, yeah. I mean, that's like, what would you do in the military if there was nobody to, like, if there was nothing to do? Like, you work out during the day and then you go home at night, right? I mean, that's basically what they are. They're just like mercs for hire, essentially. Yeah, absolutely. Also, if you're way off in the middle of nowhere, you're not really going to get monster hunters. You also need to remember that monster hunters are adventurers, so you need to be in a part of the world that happens to have a large number of adventurers. Goblins and dwarves are the same size, yes. Too much effort to forge human-sized armor and weapons? I don't disagree, yeah. Just make sure that you're at war with humans, and then there will be plenty of dead humans around, and that human will have plenty of dead humans to collect new gear from. Of craft until you have X. In the management screen, you can just be like, I don't know, rock block 30, and they'll make 30 rock blocks. You can select what type stone you want. So within the manager screen, you can. And then within the manager screen, you can also, if you can set if-then statements, which I literally never do, and no, I can't show you how because I'm terrible at that sort of thing. But you can, deeper in the manager screen, you can set it so that they will start making the item again if you go below a certain number and stuff like that. Ibel Gevmomas said, the stoneworker has created Kiseth Noxam, an obsidian grate, and claims it as an heirloom. Well, that's great. It's worth 159,600. The Prowler of Battle is the name of it. This is an obsidian grate, and it's pretty great. All craftsmanship is of the highest grade, quality. It is encrusted with octagon cut yellow zircons and studded with gold, and encrusted with bands of cushion obsidian cabochons and gold and rectangular limestone cabochons. This object is adorned with hanging rings of obsidian and menaces with spikes of pineapple opal. On the item is an image of Kumil, steam wheels, the dwarf, in gold. On the item is an image of Cleanse Whiskers, the raw adamantine mug in copper. Once rescued a human. One in-game year passed before I noticed he was naked when rescued. Oh, the poor dude. Oh, the poor dude. Oh, the poor human. Oh, no. Unfortunately, in Premium, you'll notice that way faster. That'll be less of an issue. I will remind you, chat, do not ever pull the do not pull lever. The do not pull lever lets the web-spitting elephant out. Pineapple opal. It's a type of gem. Also, what's up, Nightstone? For reference, pineapple opals look like this. They cool as fuck looking, dude. Like, look at that shit. Now that's a crystal that makes you better at sex. I'm just telling you. Also the game saving, so you're not missing anything. What about the do not pull lever on the web spitting elephant? If you pull the lever, it releases the web spitting elephant into the fort. That's what the do not pull lever does. It releases the web spitting elephant into the fortress. What about the do not pull lever on the web spinning elephant? Well, there is no lever on the elephant? What? I'm confused. I guess I don't understand what you're trying to say at this point. Chat, I got things to show you. Hold up. Hold up. This is very important. This has taken like 2 months and I'm suddenly very, very, very excited. So do you remember how we unlocked a shit ton of emotes? Like, oh good lord. I don't like at the I think it was the end of September. So we decided we wanted a puking dwarf emote. Okay. A gremlin, an evil gremlin emote. And a goblin emote and a ghost emote, right? So we have a ghost emote, work in progress, concept. We have a vomit emote, work in progress, concept. We have a gremlin emote, work in progress, concept, and a goblin emote, work in progress, concept. I think the goblin is the one that I'm the most going, what is that, Crypt Derp? Just goblin around. Well, yeah, what do you guys think? We need feedback. Oh god, that meme format. That's emotes, sir. Crypt Gerp. We're back in 2015. I mean, you like the goblin? I'm indifferent on the goblin, I'll be honest, but big fan of the ghost. From Invader Zim. It's not where my brain went to. Is the booze he's puking purple? Well, plump helmets are purple, so yes, he's puking purple. It almost looks like a weird tongue. I do like the look on his face, though. That's pretty quality. But what do you think, chat? Should I give Cooler the okay go to keep working on him? Or should I be like, Needs more work. You know, I've never seen a single second of Invader Zim, so I've absolutely no frame of reference. So honestly, I'm thinking like Crypt Gerblin or whatever. Crypt Evil or Gremlin. Crypt Puke and Crypt Ghost. Spook? Something? Dog is fighting with what? Oh, probably the Forgotten Beast. Webs that got flicked into its face. Gur is one of the few things you would have tattooed on your body. Wow, that's an endorsement. Okay, noted. Grizz gives 0 fucks and loves tacos. Okay, I see no problem with this. I like tacos. But yeah, it's taken a while because of where my artist is located and the fact that he's had to go get a job, which sucks. But, you know, is what it is. The world, unfortunately, ain't perfect. I was going to do something else with that chunk up there. Maybe I could make that into a powered mill, potentially. Do you know something about DF hack functions getting officialized in premium? Well, exporting legends is not a DF hack feature. That's a vanilla feature. But like, what functions are you thinking specifically? Because like auto labor is already a default feature. Like a lot of features that people think that are DF hack features are actually vanilla features. But yeah, export legends is not a DF hack feature. That's just a feature in Dwarf. But I know that like the little happy faces are going to be in the UI. There's going to be a thing that says how many dwarves have beds. A lot of the more granular, like simple functions are going to be put in officially. But things like clear all negative moods and all that stuff, no. I know that there's I don't know the full list of them because I haven't played it. Well, I mean I could tell you for a fact that exporting legends is a vanilla feature because I do it sometimes and I don't use DF hack. Will I use the automated set? I'll probably test it, but will I use it? Probably not. Because I don't use automated labor right now. I like having a little bit more granular control than that. I see like auto labor being useful for brand new players or for people who like are much more used to more casual games. I don't get super deep into the management stuff, but I do like being able to choose what dwarf do what. What dwarf do what. Got more dwarves becoming clothers, which is... Need to do something with that grate. So let's take that floor grate. I'm sorry, where... I guess it must be being put away. Because I'm not seeing it in my construction options. I mean, someone's either already nicked it and stolen it, or it's just sitting right there. What? Was that not a floor grate? Obsidian grate. Odd. I don't know why it's not constructed. Someone must be like hauling it in a future job or something. Not initially, Star-Legend God, but shouldn't be too hard to make it run in wine based on current Dwarf Fortress stuff. Because current Dwarf Fortress runs just fine on wine. And also plays, well, I mean, has native support. But one of the first things that they're going to start working on once the release is out and done is getting a team together to work on Mac and Linux versions. But this version, the Windows version that I'm playing right now, runs just fine in wine. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if you're able to just make it work, but it won't have a native... version at release anyway. Which kind of blows, but just kind of is what it is, unfortunately. But yeah, it is one of the it is one of the first things that they have on like their to-do roadmap. Like, I just go open up that email and go find that roadmap again. The months following launch, we have more graphics we want to add. We'd like to add okay. In the months after launch, we're not able to approach Mac and Linux by ourselves since we've never since they've, I guess, never notarized a Mac build and never managed Linux libraries, and we'll need to get some help to do that properly. But obviously, we'd love to get the whole pipeline working so that people can play in non-Windows computers. So that's what they have listed under soonish, which I've heard some rumblings say like 2 to 4 months post-release. I always feel like an asshole when I'm talking to people about whether things will run on Mac or not, because the whole concept of the whole concept to me of playing Dwarf Fortress or any games for that matter on a Mac is just a little goofy to me. Like I feel like just an asshole when I say that, but it's like, I don't know. Do I have any tips on making a pretty fortress? Squares are bad. But I don't think my fortresses are pretty, so no. I just think squares are boring. In my world, it's not hip to be square, I guess. It's hip to be spherical or rounded at the corners. Also, these walls are just starting to cause problems, so let's just get rid of those. Apple is a terrible company. I'll say this. Apple computers have their uses, right? Especially their laptops. Their laptops are kind of phenomenal. Like, they make some of the best laptops in existence. Especially build quality wise. Their phones are not great. Aside from the fact that, like, they have better privacy policies than the vast majority of Android phone providers. But aside from some privacy policy things, I would generally agree. However, there are some people who are students who need a Mac specifically for school, or people who have a job where they need a Mac for it specifically, and that is the only computer that they can afford, and those people I feel bad for. Like, if you're just somebody who refuses to buy either a Windows or a Linux PC, and you have the money and you only ever buy Macs, and you insist on only purchasing Macs and, like, get mad when things don't run, then yeah, I don't feel bad for you. But, like, if you're any of those other parties, then yeah, I kind of feel bad for you. Has anyone ever mentioned that it's looked like a football? Not specifically, but someone asked why it looked like an eye. Someone said it looked like the Eye of Sauron. But no, I haven't gotten this football. I actually thought about that it looks kind of like a football. I mean, my intention was to just make an oval, which is kind of the shape of a football. At least it doesn't look like a penis. As long as it doesn't look like a penis, then I've succeeded. There was one time I spent like hours building this really intricate looking fort, and then somebody in chat said, "Zoom out, your fortress looks like an upside down cartoon dinosaur." And I was like, I beg your fucking pardon? And I zoomed out and I looked at it, and it looked like a giant upside down dinosaur. And I to this day, I was just like, I'm not sure how I did that. But yeah, as long as it doesn't look like a phallic object, I've succeeded. Because believe it or not, it's very easy to accidentally make dicks in games like this. Just like it's really easy to make a city that looks like a nutsack in City Skylines if you like circles. You're so happy with the release date announcement? Yeah, me too. I'm especially happy that it isn't 2 weeks earlier. Because this weekend, I'm not going to be home. I'm going to Vegas this weekend. I'm going to hang out with a friend, go on a hike, see 2 concerts, and then fly back. So I'm very happy it's not this week. I was a little worried it would be, but timing worked out. I actually I straight up was like bullying Kit Fox. I'm like, please tell me you're not announcing anything on this particular weekend. And they were like, between the 10th and the 14th, and they're like, okay, you do not need to cancel your vacation. You will be fine. We have very different definitions of success. So what you're saying is a successful fortress for me is when I accidentally make a fortress that's shaped like a giant dick and I don't realize it, and then you get to laugh at me quietly and maniacally until I notice and then make fun of me when I notice. Is that your idea of success? One of my Masons gave birth to a baby girl. Look at that. Adorable. This is why we can't be friends, Gristoth. Because you're so mean to me. I don't know about that, a little bit dumb, but someone has to. Although I will say this defensive pyramid kind of pains me because it is square. The dwarf that fell into hell and triggered the apocalypse was pretty cool. Trying to think when I had a dwarf fall into hell and trigger the apocalypse. Did I ever have a dwarf fall into hell and trigger the apocalypse? To build a detailed dick in a 3D simulated game, you think that you'd succeeded? Fair enough. Fair enough. Within a week of it showing up on the Steam page in 2020 or whatever. I mean, you can look up when you wishlisted it, actually. If you go to your wish list, it says the day that you added it to your wish list. 13/3/2019 for me. Yeah, I'm also super excited. I'm super excited for two reasons. One of them is very selfish. I'm very excited because I know I'm going to make money when it releases. I'm also very excited because it's the biggest growth opportunity for my stream in like the last decade. I'm terrified because I'm scared I'll fuck it up. But right now, like my nearest like big thing to be excited for is the 17th. Because on the 17th, Tarn joins me. We get to chit-chat about dwarves. That I'm looking forward to. Very, very much looking forward to that. So what, 10 days after me accident? It's pretty good. But keep in mind that they didn't actually start working on it until spring 2020. Like, it was announced in 2019, but they didn't actually start working on it until 2020. You liked my RTX on-off main? Eh. I made it in 20 seconds when I was just like sitting here twiddling my thumbs going, oh god, I know when Dwarf Fortress is going to release and nobody else does yet. Uh-oh. One of my dwarves is in a martial trance. Why? You're watching an axe demonstration. Oh, there's a Kia over here. That's why. I was like, why is my military suddenly in a martial trance? Oh, because a Kia is attacking. Playing it in college. I first installed Dwarf Fortress sometime in 2009. Because I'd just beaten Adom, and after cheating mercilessly, and I was asking a friend of mine who also likes weird games, and I was like, "Hey man, have you how many games playing Q?" Because we played a lot of Counter-Strike and stuff at the time. And he goes, "Well, there's this thing, Dwarf Fortress, that I've been messing about with. It's kind of hard though." I was like, "What's that? Send me a link." So send me a link. And then I went down the same kind of curve that a lot of people do, which is download it, get confused, get annoyed, get frustrated, Alt F4, try and figure out why the game didn't actually close when I Alt F4'd, hard stop it in Task Manager, and then delete the thing. And 6 months later, I tried again. And 6 months later, I tried again. And then I kept hearing about it. And then I tried again. And then a story popped up about it. And then an article. And then it showed up in a museum. And it's like, suddenly then other people were talking about it. I heard Total Biscuit mention it a couple times on the Co-optional podcast. I just kept hearing about it. And every time I'd hear about it, I would be like, huh, should try that again. And every time I would, and every time I'd bounce off. And by about 2014, 2015, I kind of was at the point where I could, like, I could build basically enough to get, like, just keep the dwarves alive for a year. Like, I was still at the point where they were just like, all die of thirst because they wouldn't get water, and I didn't know about booze. And then it was around 2017 where I actually started, like, fucking around and learning the game a little bit using the wiki, because it was when I first started installing it vanilla instead of, like, trying to use Lazy Noob Pack, which made the game way less complicated in my mind. And I eventually just kind of sat down with the wiki one day and got competent, and then I started streaming it. And the rest is kind of history. 5/29/22. Hey, it's just less time to wait, you know? White Dog? Like, I keep on seeing people, like, especially when the release date was announced, stating things like, I didn't know that this game existed. I only just learned of this game's existence. I'm super excited. Oh my god, my mind is melting out of my ear. Holy shit, panic attack. This game looks amazing. What the fuck, bananas? And, you know, honestly, I'm a little bit jealous of those people not discovering that Dwarf Fortress existed until just now, because, my god, they've got a lot to dive into. I hope that they have fun. I read that as casserole. I was like, my computer got old and I moved to casserole. And I was like, you know, I too could be moved by a casserole tonight. That sounds lovely, actually. I mean, who doesn't want to be moved by a casserole? I mean, few things better in life than a well-made casserole. I feel like I need more glass makers. Right now, I feel like I have none. Kia's fighting with one of my soldiers. It's going to be sooner than Kenshi 2 that you're dying to play on the Unreal Engine after all the janky years you've played, so it's you kind of know the feeling. Okay, yeah, true. I mean, I feel like everybody kind of, well, maybe not everybody. I guess some people just play FIFA, but like a lot of people have like that 1 or 2 games that, you know, like they're looking forward to. I mean, maybe for some people it's Sonic Frontiers, and you know that game finally released. But, you know. I think that everybody just kind of has like that one game that they're kind of looking forward to that seems to be taking forever to come out, you know, that they've always wanted to play, and they're never going to get the opportunity to play it because it just takes so long. Kenshi is a weird thing. I never really got into Kenshi. In theory, I would love Kenshi, but every time I played Kenshi, it just felt like work and wasn't entertaining. All right, let's see. We're back at making Masterpiece glass pots. Cool. They're working on that corner bit. Let's just kind of go around the edge here. I think I've just lost enough of my glass makers that I need to increase the number of glass makers again. I'm seeing almost more dwarves collecting sand than making glass. And that's really what I need, is I need glass makers. And I have lost some pretty considerable numbers of dwarves in the fort. A few games like that. Fort of Motorsport is another one that you've been waiting for eagerly since it's been announced in development. Didn't like they just release? Oh no, I'm thinking of Gran Turismo. I was like, didn't they just release a Forza? No, it's Gran Turismo. Very different thing. No idea of where or what I could do. I love the concept of the game, but you haven't gotten into it yourself. In theory, Kenshi's a game I should love, but I just didn't like looking at it. Like, I really didn't like looking at it. Like, really didn't like looking at it. Please tell me that was Kia's. I think that was a Kia. Yeah, it was Kia. That Kia is very dead. The wrestler hacks a Kia in the right upper leg, and the severed part sails off in an arc. Goodbye, Kia. How you got past that hurdle in DF is beyond you. I mean, like, I would say that there's a lot of Let's Plays of Dwarf Fortress and stuff, but actually I think there's probably more of Kenshi. This is my fight, too. This might require an answer. Dude, it's a fucking bird. Still have no clue how to play Adventure Mode? Adventure Mode is actually really simple. The problem with Adventure Mode is it's just it's a bit of a mess in the current game. It's been better in the past, and it'll get better in the future. And I think that I'm looking forward to Adventure Mode getting an overhaul because Adventure Mode is really cool and it doesn't get enough credit. Let's shoot more webs at these dogs, shall we? Gosh, I'm getting tired. I've only been streaming for 10 hours, too. Adventure Mode was a little too abstract for you to get into? Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing, though. That's what the current major update for Dwarf Fortress is supposed to fix. And no, I'm not talking about Premium. I'm talking about the update that was announced and talked about and teased and worked on before Premium. Which is Villains. The whole point of Villains is it's supposed to fix the obtuse, weird, pseudo-randomness that is Adventure Mode, right? Like, it's going to add quests and goals and, like, things that you actually need to do. Did the same with DF and RimWorld, but you felt at home with Kenshi. It's weird. Yeah, that's fair. Not weird. If you play a game and you like it, it's not weird. That's what games are supposed to be. You're supposed to play a game that you like. But now also RimWorld is at 810 hours and you love playing it in different ways? Totally. What are we shitting about? My bedrooms are so huge. I mean, sure. They're just bed and, like does everybody even have a bedroom? I guess there's a few dwarves that don't. The vast majority of dwarves do. Few that don't. Yeah, I mean, they're literally just like a cabinet and a chest and a bed. But like, yeah, I like making big bedrooms because honestly, these dwarves work hard. Might as well give them nice bedrooms. Actually, a thing I do want to make though is armor, stand, glass, 210. It's gonna be something we're gonna start working on. So I can give everybody an armor stand, and we'll do the same with weapon racks. But evening, Audio. Thanks for the lurks for the last little bit. Audio, I got something to show you. Check these out. Check these out. Ghost emote. Goblin emote. Gremlin emote. Vomit emote. Much excitement. It's only taken 11,000 years, but we're getting more emotes finally. I'm looking forward. Did I assign? No, the dwarves generally find them themselves. You don't need to assign them beds. They just take them. You just make them available as bedrooms, and then dwarves will claim available beds. And then after a little bit, you can kind of check. You can just kind of go through this menu, and the ones that are green don't have beds assigned. Then you can manually assign the last few. Because only dwarves that are super duper not greedy will refuse to claim bedrooms. So they're not free beds there. They're just they were just made available as bedrooms, and then the dwarves just claim them. I usually make inn rooms, but I haven't been getting any visitors, so there's been no reason to. I usually make an inn dormitory, but I haven't had any visitors in my inn because we're kind of in the middle of fuck nowhere here. I mean, there's like these humans up here. We have no contact with them. And then like my dwarves are all the way down here. They're pretty far away. Also, they're pretty actively at war. So I didn't bother making inns in this particular fortnight. Because I just haven't needed them. It's like, how many visitors we have? None. And I've got multiple public spaces. It's like we're kind of limited to Forgotten Beasts. So let's just see if I can find an empty bedroom. Okay, let's just start. Okay, so this belongs to Dodik the Engraver, right? We'll free this bed, right? So you press R, increase it, and now that it's a open bedroom, the next dwarf that sleeps in this bed will probably claim it as theirs. Or I can hit assign bed and then select a dwarf. Be like, Dodik, you stay here. You don't need to actually do that. As long as it's a... Oh, shit, I got others here that aren't assigned. Perfect. So I can either, like, go here and be like, okay, you live here now. Or I can just make them available. And that part's pretty easy. Well, the thing is, dwarves like to own things, so if you just keep them as free open dormitories or whatever, so what's the word I'm looking for here? If you just set them as free bedrooms, they won't claim it as their own, and they don't get that extra little moodlet. Which is a way that you can, like, you know, run a fort if you want. Because, like, examination explained. Because, like, you can run forts however you please, really. But I personally enjoy setting up my forts so that as many dwarves have bedrooms as possible, if not all of them. What about nobles' rooms? Of course, they get bigger, nicer bedrooms. I mean, my mayor's bedroom is this one. This is the mayor's bedroom. They have, like, a table, dining room set up, armor stand and weapon rack, extra chest, extra cabinet, some windows. This is their office dining room. Or actually, rather, that's their dining room, and then this is their office, yeah. And it's, you know, it's not quite enough. They wish that their office was a little nicer, which means maybe I could make it nicer. I could give them some statues. Or some more armor stands, rather. We could give them some schisty statues. That'll hopefully help. What's the other question? Oh, I mean, they'll work regardless of if they have the thing in the first place. Like, you could give them absolutely nothing and they'll still work. They'll just complain. Although, they do need to have an office if you want them to act as the therapist for your fortress, which they do. Dwarves that are particularly upset or moody or depressed will attend meetings with the mayor where they cry and scream at somebody who's in charge. And this is a... very positive mood buff that depressed dwarves can get. And if the mayor has an office assigned to them, then that will get done. Otherwise, that won't get done. And, like, if you don't give them a dining hall, then they will be upset when they have to eat in a non-dining hall. If you don't assign them an office, then they will be upset when they have to see dwarves like the Outpost Liaison as an example, without a proper office. Like it's a little mood thought that they get. So if you don't assign them one at all, they will be sad, but realistically, they will just do the job regardless of if they have the proper stuff assigned. The dwarves in Dwarf Fort are actually quite flexible and will just kind of do things. You know, it's pretty funny. It's like there are some people who get like weirdly mad about how like fickle dwarves can be. It's like, oh no, like they go out into the rain for 10 seconds and suddenly they're just mad that they've been rained on. And it's like, well, in Dwarf Fortress, a day is approximately 30 seconds. 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how fast your frame rate's running. Imagine you had to spend 6 weeks in the rain. Yeet. You'd be pretty pissed too. Hi, Hobo. Arms hurt, am exhaust, life is good. Wait, what? Also, Hobo, I should mention to you, my Oma thinks that your desserts look really tasty. And so does my aunt. I was showing them pictures from the Discord when I was over there. Just got back from gym. I get you. So at what point do you change your name to Swole Hobo instead of Stoned Hobo? You're kind of hopeful that will surge so many more cool mods with new people coming to DF? Potentially. I mean, the thing that I'm really hopeful about is that a lot of the overhaul mods get updated / maintained, because Dwarf Fortress is really strong with retheming mods. Like there's a really good Star Wars mod, a really good Pokemon mod, a really good Super Mario Brothers mod that is a druggish nightmare hellscape that I kind of like. There's a lot of mods like that I hope get overhaul and updated and managed with proper sprites and things. Who says he wasn't Stoned Hobo at the gym? This is true. So, Yeah, there's that Witcher mod that like just released. There's somebody working on cannons and guns, which I don't know how I feel about, but cannons seem neat. Guns, Cannons, There's a Star Wars mod where you play as Jawas, which is pretty good, which I like to play on May the 4th and Revenge of the 5th, which is always a good time. It's basically just Dwarf Fortress except with like 750 billion different droids. And like Bronze Colossi are, what's the word I'm looking for here? Bronze Colossi are AT-ATs. Which is just, there's something really funny about, a legendary AT-ST has come. And then it's just a description of the AT-ST from the Star Wars wiki, followed by, you will know why you fear the night! And it's like, giant robot, come step on me? Let's go. When you lose the gut? I mean, you gotta start somewhere, right? Baby steps. Also, like, the Super Mario Brothers mod is super out of date, old, and barely functions in modern DF, but there is something special about a toad getting their arm ripped off because a Yoshi decided to eat it. And then just the visceral graphic descriptions of just, like, Yoshi grabs Toad's arm by the thing on their elbow, and like the injured part explodes into gore, and it's just like Yoshi devouring arm of critter, and it's just like, oh. Oh my. Death Metal Yoshi. And it's not even, it's just like, that's just what Yoshis do. They just do that. There's something special about that. You don't get that in many games. It's like, oh look, Yoshi decided to eat the arm of that person. So, chat, I'm going to be honest. I'm trying to figure out what to play for evening game today. I was kind of thinking Zero Sievert, but now I don't know. Because Zero Sievert is out, what, next week, actually? Maybe I'll just wait till next week. When is that out fully? The 15th? Oh, that's well. It's what, a week from today? It is out in 3 days. Yeah, not Tarkov. Pixelkov. Yeah, we could play some. We could do some Zero Sievert if you guys are down. Lords and Villains. I don't feel like playing that game again. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, if you guys are down, we could do some Zero Sievert. Like another 3 hours or something. But chat, I think we'll play some more of this Fortress tomorrow. I don't think currently I'm working under the assumption that I'm not going to do a stream on Thursday, just because I do have a plane to catch at like 5:30 p.m. and trust me, you don't want to see me as a bundle of anxiety the day of a flight. So I think that we're gonna swap games here. Is there anybody playing Dwarfs that I could recommend? Doopy doop. Keagle's playing the cool Eagle. He's a cool dude if you just want to watch Dwarfs. Of course, there's also this, which is the unofficial, official Gremlin for Mayor countdown timer release date for Dwarf Fortress. That's going to be running 24/7, unless Aqua's server goes down or something. The music? No. I'm not going to stream from the plane. I don't think that's possible. So, anyway. I think that's it for me for Dwarfs for today. If you are here for Dwarfs specifically, I will be on at 9 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. So, planes have Wi-Fi?